All right, welcome in to the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. Hold on, I'm finishing pouring my. Let's restart this. What do you say? Welcome into the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, round about noon o'clock from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's Design District. This is talk radio for normal people, you know, non-weirdos. Just here's 15 on the right are nuts. The 15% of Americans on the right are gone. 15 on the left are gone. That's us. 70. The 70% of us in the middle. We can do business. We disagree on a lot of stuff, but we can do business. We'll talk shit to each other, but, we can do business. We understand we understand the goal. 70% of us understand the goal is that the other 35% no, wait, it would be 70% of us don't believe, as the 15% on the wings do, that the only way to make this country work is if the other side were all dead. That's it. 70% of us don't think everybody needs to die, or the other side does. That's what this talk radio show is for. 3 years we've been doing it. 3 years now. You folks in the chat room, you keep us alive, and I appreciate you for it. How does it work? It is a stream of consciousness. It's just me talking, right? So, I'll play some video clips and we'll listen to audio and we'll do that kind of stuff. We'll break down video and all that. But basically, it's a stream of consciousness where I'm just telling you about the day. Today. What is today? What has today meant? We do it in 4 quarters where I break it down into segments. The first one, history of today. We call it antecedently on this day, but it tells us everything that we need to know that has occurred on this day in the past. Why? Maybe it'll prepare us for, what we should expect. I know that only really makes sense during hurricane and tornado season. A lot of hurricanes on this day throughout history. It's because it's hurricane season, moron. I know, I get it. But still, so we do that. We go through that. That's quarter 1. Quarter 2 is birthdays. Celebrities, notable quotables, historical figures born on this day. Are they cool or do they suck? That's what we do in quarter 2. Quarter 3, deads. Kind of the opposite of quarter 2. People who died on this day. Again, celebrities, notable quotables, that kind of thing. Looking at a picture of Gene Hackman and his wife right now. We still don't know what day he died on. God, that story's getting creepier and creepier by the minute. Quarter 3 is deads. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? They died on this day. Where do you think they went? Those are the first 3 quarters. They run through pretty quickly. The bulk of the show is the hot topics content and all that kind of stuff. How's everybody doing? Hi, Byron. Byron's here. Jeff's here. Adam's here. Peter's here. Seth's here. We've got I should do that. We got, who was first? Do I care? I do. I really do care. So I should probably, I got Peter first. I got Jen Hernandez second. There we go. Peter and Jen. Pop duo from the 60s. Hey, Peter. Yeah, Jen. Remember that song? It was good. Peter and Jen. That song doesn't exist. I'm just riffing. That's what a stream of consciousness is. Guys, I gotta be honest with you. We normally start the show with small talk, but I am reeling. I am absolutely. Did you guys just see that? Did you guys just see that? I don't know what the hell I just watched. I know it was awesome. I know what I just watched was unexpected, although it shouldn't have been unexpected. It shouldn't have. The only thing that we should expect is to expect the unexpected. It was wild. Did you guys watch Trump and Zelensky and J.D. Vance in the Oval Office throwing down? I didn't think in a million years. We are so accustomed. Oh, and by the way, just in case you're just, sampling this part of the show, I'm not a MAGA guy, okay? I'm also not a purple-haired LGBTQ. I'm not one of those guys either, all right? Remember, I'm just a dude in the middle. All right. That whole situation in the White House and the Oval Office today was some of the most incredible live television I have ever seen. And I watched all of the coverage of 9/11 on the day it happened. I did. That was crazy, you guys. That was absolutely insane. And it wasn't even going to be a topic today. I'm driving in. I got the audio on, right? Because I knew it was going to happen. I stayed at home a little bit later because I thought this thing was going off earlier and I wanted to be able to watch it from the office at home. And That didn't work out. So I get in the car and I'm monitoring, and all of a sudden it pops on. They make the stream live. And I watched in my commute here the entirety of what was released. Not the clips. You're going to see a lot of clips on, social media and all that stuff. I watched the entirety in 75 traffic while trying to exit there at the Perot Museum to come here to the beautiful design district in Dallas. That was wild, man. And let me say this. Look, I got some real thoughts on, Putin, right? But that's not what I want. Here's what I want to talk about. If this whole thing, we don't know how it's going to break yet, right? It just happened. We don't know if this is going to break really good for Trump or if this is going to break really bad for Trump. We don't know. We don't know how this is going to be perceived. But if it breaks bad for Trump, you better believe that J.D. Vance is going to get thrown under the bus like you would never. I could not believe. Here's what I think. Did you guys see it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so I'll recap it for you. So basically, Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine, he's the president of Ukraine, wartime president, that whole thing. I don't remember. Was he wearing the fatigues? I love when he wears the fatigues. I love when actor comedy boy wears the fatigues. I don't mean to marginalize him. I've actually got a lot of respect for him as far as the way he's conducted himself in front of his people during wartime. I'm not getting into what is it? But Pugs, what about Burisma? I don't fucking know. I don't know anything about that shit. Stop it. Neither do you. You watched a YouTube video and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another. And now Burisma is why you're siding with Putin. Or something. I don't know. I don't know how it all works. I don't poison my mind with that kind of nonsense. But so Zelensky's in there, and he and Trump, it's like, leader to leader. They're and then J.D. Vance, he pops in and fucks the whole thing up. He's like, Zelensky, you're a prick. And Zelensky's like, fuck you, J.D. And then Trump's got to make a decision. Trump's sitting there. He's like, okay, this is going out on live TV. My vice president just broke bad. He certainly wasn't being diplomatic in the way that whole thing went sideways. My vice president just broke bad on Zelensky, and now they're fighting. I, as the president, I got to either make peace between these two, which kind of would have been the move that I would have thought to try and do in front of the American people, or choose a side. And he doesn't want to choose. He don't want to be on TV, in America, taking the side of Zelensky, not after, the way we're all supposed to be programmed to think about him, at least people on the right. People on the left think he's Jesus. I'm like, dude, he's the Eastern European Jon Stewart. Okay. I don't know that he's Jesus. Stop it. Vance screwed the whole thing up. Vance drove the car off the road. J.D. Vance reached across from the back seat. He's behind the passenger in the back seat. Reached across and grabbed the steering wheel and drove that whole thing into the ditch. And I got to be honest, I've never been more thankful for J.D. Vance in my life, because that was fun. Oh, my God. Insane what happened in the Oval Office today. They went back. Look, Putin was the winner. I mean, that's honestly, if we're going to take a 30,000-foot view of this whole thing, the winner in this was Vladimir Putin. Because the United States, the president of the United States, in a shouting match with the guy you, Putin, are at war against, is a very positive thing. It's a very positive thing. Gets people thinking. Gets people thinking about, hey, what if the United States and what if the United States and Russia teamed up? Ooh, it's got to scare China, right? I hate Russia. I love Russia. I'm actually a bit of an amateur historian when it comes to Russian history. I'm fascinated, especially during the era of Tsarist Russia. That was fun. Catherine the Great, my God, she's got some stories. Peter, do you know about Peter? Peter was so cool. Crazy as a fucking shithouse rat, but Peter the Great was cool. So I am enthralled by Russia, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was raised in the 1970s. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, Cold War. I'm a Cold War kid. Through and through. I knew who my enemy was. My enemy was the Soviet Union. They were pointing missiles at us. ICBMs that they promised could be in my backyard in 20 minutes. That's how I grew up. And I knew who those people were. And so, I'm just that kind of idiot, I think, because they were our enemy. I took a great interest in who they were. and trying to figure out. So as a high school kid, man, I took Russian history, Russian 2, medieval European history, which dealt a whole lot with Russia and the Russian Vikings, the Russo-Vikes, if you will. So, I mean, I found all that stuff fascinating. And I had a teacher who was from Russia, Virgil Krapowskis, and he had escaped Stalin. His family escaped Stalin. And he was the greatest teacher I ever had. Here was this guy who came out of communism, whose family came to America. They were living the American dream. They were awesome. He and his wife and dedicated his life to teaching. Such a popular. He was a Mr. Holland's Opus type teacher. He was that kind of dude. Everybody loved Virgil. We called him Virgil. He used to say calling him Mr. Krapowskis felt way too Stalinist for him. He didn't like that shit. So make no mistake, I am a Cold War kid who is steeped to my gills in a distrust, in an understanding, a deep understanding that the goal of the Soviets in that era was to destroy us. And I know that because that was our goal. Because we were like, yeah, we'll blow them up first. That's how we were raised. That's how our mindset is. So, Putin, and people are like, oh, yeah, you Putin. No, it is specifically Putin. I didn't feel this way about Gorbachev. I loved Gorbachev. Gorbachev was great. Glasnost, perestroika, all of that stuff, man. We were on the path to actually burying the hatchet and having meaningful terms and relationships with these people who had been our enemy for so long. And then Gorbachev was followed by Yeltsin. And we liked Yeltsin. Yeltsin was great. The problem, Yeltsin was a drunk. And if we're being honest, a total puppet to us. So the people didn't really love that. So the pendulum swung the other way. And they elected a former KGB, a top KGB, top Soviet. You understand this, the difference. Gorbachev was a reformer. He was a Soviet member. Joel, obviously, the head of the general secretary and all of that stuff. He was the head of the Soviet. But he was also a reformist. And so he saw that, okay, we need to stay. So he saw the error of his ways and wanted to make a change for his people that would better them. At the time of perestroika, shit was bad in Russia for the Russian people. It wasn't just propaganda where we saw, women in line, for toilet paper for like a day. That was really happening over there. There was some messed up stuff that was happening. So Gorbachev was a reformist, and he was like, okay, let's join the West. Then Yeltsin came in. Yeltsin was a drunk. He was too much of a puppet. We went too far. We went too far. We thought, let's empower the drunk guy. The drunk guy, he was always going to be half in the bag. And he's a good drunk. That was the thing about Yeltsin. He was a good drunk. Apparently he made all kinds of very West-friendly deals. But they were our friends. We were good to them. And they were good for us. And the world was looking like in 1997, like maybe it was going to be a better place. And then Putin shows up. And it all got fucked up again because he is dyed-in-the-wool Soviet. His brain will tell him until his very last breath that he's put on this earth to destroy the American scum. Okay? Now, the reason I tell you all this is because I think there's a whole bunch of people out there who maybe aren't as old as I am, who wasn't raised in that way, who doesn't understand what the Soviet mindset was and how that directly correlates to the man who's in charge there now. He's not Yeltsin. Yeltsin was never a die-hard Soviet. He was kind of a rabble-rouser and a drunk. That's why he got to be the puppet president. And then they went right back to somebody who had spent their entire life. By the way, Putin was a handler. What did they call it? A Glaristike? That's a KGB agent who handles spies, foreign spies, people from other countries that he manipulates into being, what do they call? Useful idiots. That was his specialty. So if you look at Putin and go, oh, he seems like he's okay, he seems genuine, he is a master manipulator, trained by the greatest mastermind fuckers in the history of the world, the KGB of the Cold War. And you people are like, no, he's a good guy, he wants to be our friend. Stop it. So stop it. Putin's a bad guy. And Zelensky, I don't know shit about Zelensky, a TV comedian, his country got invaded. So so once again, I'll just give it to you like this. I like to break it down. I like to make it easy. Okay, so you got your house. You're living in your house. You got a neighbor that moves in. That neighbor's kind of a dick. You don't really like him, but everything's fine. And then one day that neighbor decides he's going to now take over your backyard. And that neighbor is now in your backyard. And you spend 3 years fighting with that neighbor. The fuck? Get out of my backyard, man. What the fuck? We were just having dinner and now you guys are here. And then the cops show up. And the cops are like, okay, this has gone on long enough. Just give them your backyard. Because that's what's going on right here. You got to understand that the people of Ukraine have been invaded by a foreign country and have been fighting tooth and nail at extreme expense to them and future generations because they believe that peace without victory is appeasement. It's what we believed in World War II. We believed that peace without victory is appeasement. That was the American way. The greatest generation operated with that worldview. And then came Korea. And it was, let's just stop this. Let's just stop this war and make sure that we can control the story so that people don't say we lost. Then came Vietnam. We know what that is. Then came the Persian Gulf. Then came Desert Storm, and how is all of that going over there? We don't go for victory anymore. And we become trained with our minds to just have enough. War, wait, time out. I didn't know war was this bad. Wait, I don't want to do war anymore. That's not how it fucking works, especially for the people who are living in bomb shelters for 3 years because some asshole next door took over their backyard. I mean, to say, and this is the attitude. I'm extremely offended as an American by the attitude of the President of the United States that was clear, straight up appeasement today to Putin. You're not going to get a deal. You can't. There's no way you can win. You don't have any cards. The fucking cards he's supposed to have is the Western world who encourages freedom in opposition to dictatorships. That's the cards he's supposed to have. They should be in NATO. What? Why Ukraine and NATO would be a problem? No, it wouldn't. It'd be a fucking boon to NATO. NATO was established to keep the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc at bay from trying to take over the rest of Europe like they had been doing. Look at East Germany, look at Poland, look at Czech, look at all of the Soviet Union. So NATO was created because the United States, after World War II, looked at that situation and said, you know what? It's obviously that we're the big swinging dicks on the block now. And we are America. After World, we had the bomb. We ended the war. We saved Europe. But we knew after World War II that they had to be kept in check. But we also didn't want to have commitment of American troops living in Europe at massive troop numbers for decades and generations. So an alliance was created. NATO, we funded them. We gave them all our stuff. We even had our advisors and all of that. I mean, NATO became the world's peacekeeper. And it's why we survived the Cold War. It's why there was never an exchange of nuclear weapons. NATO, they were our guys. And you're telling me that the person, the country, Russia, the country that NATO was established to keep in check would have a problem with a neighbor to that country being in our ranks? No, that's a great advantage to NATO. Well, but then that would make Putin do something. Or it would make Putin shit his pants. Which perspective are you taking? The pussy who's worried about him throwing a punch? Or the tough guy who we're supposed to be, who's like, look, motherfucker, sit down and shut up. That's the attitude of America that we used to have. We got a guy now who is sitting there basically saying, well, war is hard and I just want credit for making peace, so give it all up. Give it all up. And then the idea of the mineral rights, which I am not against. And let me also say this. If somehow these tactics work and we do actually, and Zelensky goes back all cucked out with his tail between his legs and like makes this deal and we do have peace, we're all going to have to say that we were wrong about President Trump. And one thing about me, I mean, that's what living in the 70% gives us. we're able to say we're wrong. We're not the crazy 15 on the right or the crazy 15 on the left who can't say that we're wrong. But if it works, and really the war does end, as an American, as someone on the outside who doesn't want there to be war anywhere, that's a win. I'm like, whatever. To the Ukrainians, it might be like, what the fuck? Why did we go through this? But the issue of mineral rights, which is what this meeting was supposed to be about originally, the Trump administration had this concept, this idea that, because he was basically elected because there was a lot of propaganda about how the United States gives all this money to Ukraine and to fight this war and all that. And okay, I don't want to get into the weeds on all that. But we do. We support him because remember, we're the world's bouncer. That's part of what we signed up for when we decided that we were going to have a sick, stupid country. No money for education, no money for healthcare. But we're going to have big fucking bombs and we're going to be the biggest badass on the block. That's what we signed up for. That's who we are. At times we show compassion, and I think that's great. And the American spirit is oodled in compassion. But we're also just a big dumb guy with a huge fucking arsenal who is policing the rest of the world. So I would be fine with peace in the Ukraine. The Ukrainian people might not. I mean, does nothing happen to Putin? See, here's the other side of this whole issue. Putin invaded another country. But Putin invaded a democracy, a free nation. 3 years, all kinds of horrible things. And what? Nothing for that? See, again, that's like no slap on the no, nothing. Just let's stop it, guys, because war is hard. All right, so that's my feeling on this whole thing. Now, back to what we actually watched. Maybe we can watch some of this because it was great TV. It was so amazing. I bet you Mediaites got something cool. I bet you they got a whole compilation of the best moments. Let's see. Again, we're talking about the insane dust-up that happened today inside the White House, the West Wing. I think it was the Oval. Was it the Oval? I think it might have been. I don't know. I was driving. I wasn't really watching. I was listening, though. I was huge dust-up today, just a couple of hours ago. Let me see what we got here. We got any video we can watch? No, I don't give a shit about what the panel discussion on CNN was after it. I don't care what they think. I know what I think. I know what I saw, and so do you. Formulate your own thoughts. Stop making, the five, the people who determine how you think. Stop making, I don't know, I can't even name anybody on CNN anymore. I don't even know. All right, let's watch this. This is, what does this say here? Zelensky intense Oval Office fight. All right, here we go. Let's watch. I'll make it big. Sorry. Oh, I thought it was up, and it's not. But now it is. So good for us. All right.
World. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side.
Why won't this fucking thing pause? Okay, there we go. He has tremendous hatred for Putin, and I can understand that. Of course you can. This man's been invaded by Putin. Putin's living in his backyard. His family were having dinner, and then all of a sudden one of the kids went, "Hey, Dad, why is the kid next door shitting in our backyard?" So yeah, he's got hatred, and Trump can understand that.
Love with, him either. So for Putin, it's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred.
Okay, so yeah, so this is my question. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hatred. Why don't you? He's Putin. What? Everything that I just said 5 minutes ago. I mean, you of course you know this. You know this about the man and the man's man. Well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just, I don't know. I don't understand why we don't have great hatred for Putin, or why you, the president of the United States, does. Every other president would have said, yeah, we don't like that guy. That guy needs to go. Every other president would have said that, Republican or Democrat. Not this guy, for some fucked up reason.
And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So.
Like it's equal. Like it's equal. The other side, Russia, isn't in love with him either. But they invaded. Russia invaded. That's like...
not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough?
All right, so here's the problem with that. One, I am not completely opposed to a president of the United States taking that position. I want what's best for the world, and that's honestly what I'm focusing on. No more who wins, who lost. I just want to make sure that this is good for everybody, the world. That's good. I'm not opposed to that.
I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way.
It's not about a deal. See, this is why I have always said, even for decades, I mean, people who I consider very stupid have been going around going, we need a businessman to run this country. And I'm like, a country, it's not a business. You cannot govern a civilized society for profit. You run a business for profit. That's not what a society is. That's not how you govern. No, we do not need a businessman who is eternally seeking a deal to govern us. We need a leader to lead us, not a deal maker in chief. That's absurd. We have those in the cabinet positions. I always reject that. He just wants credit for making a deal. He doesn't care what the details are. And honestly, he shouldn't, because the people that are on his team, his people in his corner, the voters, the whole MAGA world, they're not going to check into the details of the deal. All they're going to do is tweet about how Trump ends the war, which I got to say again, if that is in fact the case, that is going to be good for him.
One more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So,
all right, this is where J.D. Vance starts the whole fucking thing going, okay? So right now, Trump and Zelensky, they're fine. But here's J.D. Vance. I'm telling you, if this plays bad with the base, if this plays bad with the polling, if this plays bad, and you can't do it now, because right now is when all the bots and all that are skewing results. You got to wait like a week. And you got to see how this all played out. What did the shakeout look like? If it's bad, J.D. Vance is going under the bus, because here's how it all started.
Look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, parts of East, and
by the way, I do want to mention, it's so cool. He's wearing the military outfit. We're that military-esque, we'll call it. I mean, he's not appearing like a statesman. This is a choice, by the way. This isn't just, this is what he chose to wear. No, this is a choice. This is an optics choice. He is being perceived by choice in the manner of dress as a wartime president. That's the reason for this. If he was wearing a suit and tie, he would then be dressing as a statesman. He's not. It's different. Trump and Vance are dressed as, I know it's like all minute optics bullshit, but this is how these people at this level are handled. All of these things are decided ahead of time. What will he wear? Will he be shaven or unshaven? How will his hair be parted? All of these things are just broken down to its essence. So he is choosing to show up in the White House as a wartime leader and not a statesman.
Crimea, so he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and
2014?
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, Yeah, the situation the same. The people
Does that not bother you? See, this is, when I like to brag about how I'm such a good judge of character, it's because I listen. I listen and I watch and I put things together. Did that just go right past you? Or was that something that made you go, oh, he's a bad guy. He's not a good person. Or at the very least, he's fucked up. Needs some therapy. Which I think we already know. The only thing Trump was concerned about in those allegations from Zelensky there was that it wasn't his fault. Was I wasn't there. Oh, that wasn't me. Okay. That's not a statesman. That's not a leader. That's a con man. That's a con man who's trying to bob and weave and make sure. That's not somebody taking responsibility, being a leader and cutting out all the bullshit. That's, I wasn't there. That's the kind of little shit that drives me nuts about this guy. His politics aside, whatever. I don't talk about his politics way. Let's see how it all works out. I talk about him as a dude. He just says fucking gross on every level as a dude.
People have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the
All right, hold
president
on.
for
We need to
bring
take a
it
break
into this
here. Barney, in all of his wisdom, Barney, what are you, stupid? You're not stupid. I read your posts. You're not a dumb guy. You better be kidding about this. Barney asks, why are they always bringing up old shit? Which is, of course, Zelensky bringing up the fact that Putin breaks deals. Every time they've signed deals in the past, they've brought in Macron, they've brought in the UK. That's what Zelensky's saying. He's saying, look, JD, what you don't understand is every time we make a deal with this guy, he goes back on it. And he's citing examples recently of when this has happened before, of course, the big 3-year war we're engaged in currently, but going back. And Barney's like, why are they bringing up old shit? Because it's directly related to him being asked to make a deal with him again. He's trying to explain to these two knuckleheads. That's what he's trying to explain. Hey, if they're going to take this position with Putin, I'm going to call them knuckleheads. He's trying to explain to these two knuckleheads that Putin can't be trusted. What are you doing?
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is?
Okay, so this is all performative. This is all him. He's thinking, what if Trump drops dead and I get to be president and then I got to run for re-election? Will people remember me as being tough? So is he performing here a little bit, right? This is not appropriate. You do not. In a couple of minutes, he's going to demand that Zelensky say thank you. And he's only doing this because the cameras are there. And my takeaway, again, is that Putin won this. That Putin is sitting here laughing, going, yeah, this is what I want. Major psyop victory for the old Soviet KGB heads. But I think Zelensky comes off as, what the fuck? Like, he's a comedian, right? So you just know that his instinct is to just tear these people up. But he's also the president of a people who have been in war for 3 years, and he has to think of them first. He cannot just get upset and say, fuck you, JD. He can't do that, because the end result of that is that it could be really bad for his people. So he is over a barrel because, as I said, after World War II, the United States of America said that we're just going to be the big cop on the block, and you, the free-seeking nations of the world, should you ever get in any trouble, don't worry about building your own super armies and all that kind of stuff. We gotcha. That was the promise of NATO. That was the promise of the United States. And now that just all seems to be gone. It all seems to be gone. Thank you, Barney. I love you. Bringing up old stuff. Oh, I hate this fucking media.
Trying to prevent the destruction of your country.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and very
telling you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and
of
he's
the
happened.
war.
All right. Kind of like that. Kind of like it. Kind of like it. Don't know if I like it in real behind closed door negotiations, but as a show of strength, that's not bad. That's not bad. Don't you tell us what we need to be worried about, dude. I mean, that's basically what he said. I like that. I thought that was his best moment. At the same time, I felt bad for Zelensky, because remember, ultimately, I'm like, Putin is the bad guy. We should be helping this dude and his people. And then, we'll put another puppet in charge of Russia. We'll go back to the way it was in 96. There were no problems. It was good. Yeah, Yeltsin was drunk all the time. They gave us all their porn stars. Remember that? That we'll never forget that for a period of time, we lived and coexisted with the Russian people in great harmony. Late 90s. The Moscow invasion of porn stars, the Eastern Bloc invasion. We need to have a name for that. That was good. See, that's what I want to get back to. When all the great Russian porn stars suddenly start showing up. We ain't there anymore. That's it. Now it's scary. It's been scary there for a long time, since Putin consolidated complete and total power. About 2010. I think that went down. It's been a much scarier place. We just want to get back to the days of doormen. There was like a period of time in the mid 90s in downtown Chicago. Chicago has a very big Russian population, but there was a period of time in Chicago in like the mid 1990s. Yeah, right when when it opened up and everybody could emigrate. Around the same time we got all the good porn stars. Where like every single cool bar in downtown Chicago had a big, gigantic, non-English speaking Russian dude at the door. It was always like, that's an example. My friend Tim once said, that's an example of us winning the Cold War. And I'm like, yes, it was. Him carding me, or him standing at the door looking all scary. I want to get back to that Russia. Honestly, because of, like I say, I love all the Russian history and stuff. I would love to go there. I would never go to Putin's Russia, but I would love to go there sometime. It is really a magical land. It is really a cool ass country. It's the reason they've been able to survive the way that they have, landlocked with a bunch of people that hate their guts. I'm talking about the rest of Western Europe, England, France, and all that. They're pretty cool. They got a lot of stuff going on there. Sort of like the Texas of Europe. There's like all kinds of shit. Mountains, oceans, flat land, whatever you need. They got it there. No, I do like Russia. And I like Russian porn stars, and I always got a kick out of those doormen in Chicago in the 90s. That was cool. It did. The doorman scene, we noticed that it went from like Mr. T and Michael Clark Duncan. They were like two famous doormen in Chicago, Mr. T first, but then in the 90s, Michael Clark Duncan. Michael Clark Duncan, what was the name of that place that he was the doorman at? Because then I remember when he became a movie star, I'm like, that dude checked my ID. But at some point, it went from like big, scary black guys to just all Russian dudes in black trench coats, leather trench coats. Let's get back to that Russia. Anyway, I want to be done with this story. I'm sure you're going to get some comprehensive coverage of all of the shit that went down in the White House today between President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Ukrainian President Voldemort. It's Voldemort, right? Or is it Voldemir? I don't even know. That guy, the Jon Stewart of Eastern Europe. Didn't go well. You can find coverage anywhere else you want. All right. I don't even know where we are today. Where are we in today's show? That was essentially the small talk segment where I just had to talk about what was happening. Well, should we do the rest of the show now? I don't even know if did we do this right? Did I say who our executive producer is? We have an executive producer of today's show, and it's time to thank them. His name is CC. Thank you, CC, today's executive producer. How do you get to be the executive producer of the show? Well, I'm glad you asked. All you got to do is be the big tipper, because that's how this show runs, and it's how it's run for 3 years. You just drop a little something. Every day you swing by, you drop a little something. That's not how it happens in reality. That's what I want it to be. But CC rose to the challenge. He was the big tipper for yesterday, the only tipper for yesterday. But still, a good tip, and he wasn't in competition with anyone. That's the kind of... What are you people? Are you people listeners? Are you stream viewers? You know, like when I was doing radio all those years, I'm like, I love you listeners. I don't know. What are you guys? Friends. That's you are. You're friends. You're good friends. You know, that's another thing that I wanted to mention about this. Not the White House situation, but about this show that we do here every day. I was thinking about this the other day, and it made me very happy. So thank you, because that's something that you did for me. I was thinking about all of you guys. I was thinking about how limited my world has become over the past 3 years. When I moved down here, I was basically just, desperately trying to reconnect with my son, success, and, just kind of poking around, trying to see if there was anything that I could do in my chosen profession, the only thing that I can do. And so I started doing this stream 3 years ago, and it didn't grow. It is not successful. It is not something that I can do forever. But of the people that are here, you guys, you fucks are here every day. I don't take that for granted. All right. And I was thinking about that the other day. Because, sometimes I would be horrified if it turned out that you guys were somehow taking my rant. You know how, like, when we get into pledge week or whatever, which I think is next week, I get pretty desperate and I start saying things because it's a stream of consciousness. And I start lamenting that we don't have more listeners. I would be horrified if I thought that ever played like I was taking you guys for granted, because I don't want to do that. So thank you. There you go. One more thing before we get into the full run of the show I wanted to talk about. The Oscars are coming up on this Sunday, and we've got the Oscar gift bags. We're going to do that today. That's one of our bits. We'll go through. We've got a list. We found a list every year. The Oscars, if you are a nominee or a presenter, you get a gift bag, and it's usually like $250,000 worth. It's crazy. It's a crazy gift bag, and we've got what's in this year's gift bag, so we'll go through that. But I've been telling you over the last couple of weeks that I've been trying to knock out as many of the Best Picture films, just because, not because I really want to watch these movies. Some of them are not things that I would choose to watch. But I watch them because, I'm trying to stay culturally relevant, right? I mean, if one of these movies is going to win the Best Picture, I should probably have seen it. So I've seen most of them now. I've told you about Anora. I've told you about Conclave. I've told you about The Brutalist. I've told you about The Substance. Dune 2, which I watched. I didn't really talk about much because it's good, but it's Dune 2. A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie, is one that I haven't mentioned, as is that drug dealer trans woman hates George Floyd movie. What is that one? I don't know what that one is. Amelia Perez. I can see that. So really, the two that I haven't seen, Amelia Perez and A Complete Unknown. The Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie. Last night I saw that. Last night I watched A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie. And first of all, let me just say this: I'm waiting for Jeremy Allen White's turn as Bruce Springsteen in the Springsteen biopic that Jeremy Allen White is going to be playing him. Jeremy Allen White, of course, from The Bear, Carmy. He's going to play Springsteen. I'm very excited about that. That's probably a movie that I'll own and watch a million times. If it's good, if it's garbage, how can it be garbage? It's about Springsteen and it's Jeremy Allen White. It can't be garbage. But let's get back to the point. The way I feel about Springsteen, I've never felt about Dylan. It's not a slight on Dylan. It's a slight on me. As someone who pretends to be so aware culturally and all of that, I have never, ever gotten into Dylan. Aware of him. Certainly I'm aware of him. I can name a bunch of his songs, and I could probably sing the lyrics to a lot of them because I've heard them. But Bob Dylan is kind of like what Bob Dylan to his era is almost like what Metallica. What? Walk with me on this. Don't roll your eyes and check out. All right, let me finish the analogy. Bob Dylan in his era was kind of like Metallica. And what I mean by that is Bob Dylan didn't get a lot of airplay. Bob Dylan wasn't on the radio. Metallica didn't get any airplay. Metallica wasn't on the radio. And yet somehow they became massive, both of them. So I always thought that was that's probably why I don't know as much Bob Dylan as maybe I should, because I just, one, wasn't exposed to it. I'm going to blame Mom for that one. I don't think Mom was a Bob Dylan fan. So I didn't get to go through those record collections. My mom had the coolest record collection. Jeez. I don't know what she did with it. She probably threw it out. What shit like that is worth now. I mean, it's crazy. My mom had the greatest record collection. And as a little kid, I used to sit there and they were all in milk crates. My grandpa was a milkman. So, a lot of people used to keep their records in a milk crate. Well, we had endless supply of milk crates for those purposes. So it was just milk crates of albums. Because my mom, very creative, very artistic, very into music and all that kind of stuff. She was a collector and she loved good music. And as the littlest kid, not even know what music was, I would just flip through because they all had these glorious album covers, these cool, fantastic pictures. None of them had Dylan. None of them. My mom was not a Dylan. My mom, thankfully, and I appreciate this, my mom exposed me to Al Green. My mom exposed me to Willie Nelson. My mom exposed me to Marvin Gaye. My mom exposed me to the Beatles. A lot of cool stuff, but no Dylan. No Dylan. So as I grew older, the combination of my mother not having that influence and it not being something that's on the radio, Bob Dylan just kind of became Shakespeare. Like a guy who was like everybody knew, but I wasn't really all that familiar with him. So I saw the movie, A Complete Unknown, the story of Bob Dylan, basically as a novice, a neophyte, somebody who didn't really. So let me tell you, I've now watched A Complete Unknown, the new film. Timothée Chalamet plays Bob Dylan, and I'm here to tell you, hi, Bob Dylan fan, how you doing? I think I'm in for a ride. I think I'm in for a ride that I'm going to willingly accept. Because see, I watch everything. I watch everything with closed captions. It's become my default. If I miss a line, I can go back and read it. I love dialogue. So the closed captions really help me with dialogue. And the closed captions really blew my mind in this. Because you see, Timothée Chalamet performs a whole bunch of Bob Dylan songs. And I'd never really read the lyrics to Bob Dylan songs until this movie. And I'm like, wow, holy shit, where have I been? And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of songs that he's playing, and I'm like, I forgot I've heard that song. That's a good song. So, musically speaking, I look forward to my jump into Bob Dylan. I'm looking forward to it because I'm a big lyrics guy. That's my driving thing. That's why I love Springsteen. I think Springsteen's the greatest lyricist of all time. But I'll tell you, I read some lyrics last night that made me go, wow, where the did that come from? All right, so now about the movie, Complete Unknown. Hey, Pugs, is it good? Yeah, it is. It's good. It's good. You'll enjoy it. If you, again, it's one of those situations where you have to be the kind of person that likes the historical biography, and you also have to be a kind of person that thinks that someone like Bob Dylan falls in the category of historical figure, and I do. Timothy Chalamet is fucking great. I don't know if he's best actor great. Did he even get a nomination? Is he in the nomination for best actor? I mean, he's great though. He really is. He really is very good. And Bob Dylan, I guess, is kind of a dick, and he played him like kind of a dick. And here's what I do have a question about, though. There are two women who play outsized roles in this film. One of them is this Monica Barbaro girl who is nominated for, I think, Best Actress. Maybe Best Supporting Actress. I'm not sure. You in the chat room can check on that real quick because I'm rolling. Monica Barbaro plays Joan Baez. Joan Baez, who was instrumental in the start of Bob Dylan's career, and they remained friends, and they toured together, and they hooked up, and then they hated each other. And a very, very complicated and long-standing relationship between two of the greats of the folk music scene in America, Joan Baez and Bob Dylan. Monica Barbaro plays Joan Baez. Another person who I didn't know shit about. I'm like, I don't know anything about Joan Baez. But Monica Barbaro is one, and the other is Elle Fanning. Elle Fanning plays Bob Dylan's actual girlfriend, okay? And for some reason, and I don't understand this, for some reason, this Monica Barbaro is nominated for an Oscar for this performance as Joan Baez. And it was nothing. It was like that's why I wonder, is she nominated for Best Supporting Actor or Best Actress? Because she's only in a few scenes. She's up there. It's not like she's I don't know. I just didn't get it. I was like, why is this person nominated? She's not awesome. She's pretty. She's very pretty. I see. This is the thing. I don't know about Joan Baez. I don't know. Is Joan Baez pretty? I can't imagine that Joan Baez is all that pretty. Because why wouldn't I have seen her before? She's very famous. I know the name. This woman who played her in the movie, very pretty. I'm like, oh, she's hot. She is hot. But here's my point. I thought Elle Fanning was so much better. Elle Fanning is Bob Dylan's put-upon girlfriend who has to deal with his rise to fame and then cheating on her with Joan Baez and then ultimately breaking up. She was so much better. Elle Fanning was great in this. Timothy Chalamet was great in this. There's also fun portrayals of everyone from Albert Grossman, the music industry super agent who discovered Bob Dylan, to Johnny Cash, who was Bob Dylan's good friend. I really like that because that is something, because, I'm a Johnny Cash guy, and I always knew that the relationship between Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan. But to see it played out in this film, the origins of it, how they became friends, was pretty cool. So again, Complete Unknown is the story of Bob Dylan. It's not about Bob Dylan's life or career. It takes place between 6 years in the 1960s, his arrival in Greenwich Village in 1961, and I've heard people argue, and I happen to agree with it, that this is the single most important moment in rock and roll history. That's where the movie ends. The movie begins in 1961 with Bob Dylan arriving in Greenwich Village and ends with him going electric at the Newport Folk Festival, which is what people say is the most important moment in rock and roll. Bob Dylan, who was the most admired artist in music at the time, who was a folk star and a god in folk, said, nah, I'm going to do what the Beatles are doing. And he went electric. Freaked the world out. That is now considered to be one of the most important, I think probably the single most important moment in rock and roll history. And yeah, bigger than the day the music died, which is always one, two. Those are always in the moments, great moments in rock and roll history. It was big. And that's where the movie ends. The movie ends with him around the time of the release of Highway 61 Revisited, which was his going electric. It was a fun movie. If you like entertainment history, and if you're just interested in, portrayals of iconic people who maybe you don't know much about or are big fans of. A Complete Unknown is not a waste of your time, but it is not the best picture of the year. I'm still going for Anora as best picture of the year. Jeff Ballard says Cash and Dylan cut an unreleased album together back in their drug days when they were going hard. I do want to hear that album. I thought they appeared together numerous times. I mean, there's an album. I guess I'm surprised that there isn't a Johnny Cash Bob Dylan album out there. It was cool. Because as I said again, remember, I'm a big Johnny Cash fan. Like, I know all about Johnny Cash. Very proud that one of the first people that I made my little son become enamored with was Johnny Cash. So it was cool to see the relationship between the two of them. Like if you know the kind of person Johnny Cash was, like in his heart, like he was a good man. He was a good person. He didn't like bullies. He didn't like rich people. He didn't like the machine. He was all about the guy in the gutter. That's who Johnny Cash was, a good man who never forgot where he came from. And the portrayal of Johnny Cash hearing this new kid, Bob Dylan, because Johnny was already famous. Johnny hears this new kid, Bob Dylan, and just writes a letter to him. Hey, Bob, my name's Johnny Cash. Like Bob Dylan doesn't know who Johnny Cash is in 1963, right? Hey, Bob. And that's how it starts. And it starts as a pen pal relationship between the two and the advice that Johnny Cash gives him. And it's very cool. Like I don't want to spoil any. No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say the interaction between Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan in the hours after the Newport Folk Festival huge event. I mean, it was a scandal. Everybody was freaking out. Everybody was pissed. Bob Dylan was being trashed. Dylan sucks now. Dylan's no longer good. The exchange between him and Johnny Cash is worth watching the whole movie. It was very cool. Track mud on someone's carpet, as Johnny used to always say to Bob. Don't be afraid to track mud on someone else's carpet. All right, Complete Unknown. Good movie. Fun movie. Not the best movie of the year. That's Anora. All right. Where are we at? This is such a fucked up show, isn't it? We're just kind of cruising around and have no idea. Should we even do the antecedently and all that shit? Is that something? Should we? All right, why not? Let's just get into it. Let's do a couple of things. The first thing happened on this day. Oh, God, see, look, I'm so out of rhythm. Here we go. All right, antecedently on this day. Let's go through some of these things that have happened on this day, the 28th day of February, the 59th day of the year. 306 remain. Antecedently on this day. Here we go. 1844, a gun explodes on board the steam warship USS Princeton during a pressure. Okay, so the boat, there's a pleasure cruise going down the Potomac on this day in 1844. There was an explosion. One of the guns on board this the USS Princeton. So it's a military boat. One of the guns explodes while these people are doing like a cocktail party, Washington kind of, party down the Potomac, right? Killed 6 people. President was there. The president was unharmed, but it killed the Secretary of State. 1844. Yeah. Killed the secretary. Secretary be like Marco Rubio being at a cocktail party with Trump and bomb going off and him dying. And not even like a bomb, like a terror bomb. Something explodes accidentally. Anyway, on this day in 1844. On this day in 1950, I'm not going to do that one. Nope, moving along. I'm going to skip over some of these because my mind is not there. There was a school bus accident on this day in 1958, and I don't really care to talk about the details. Antecedently on this day in 1959, Discovery 1, an American spy satellite. It's the first object intended to achieve polar orbit. Unfortunately, it failed. It didn't make it. 1959. And we haven't gotten much better at space since. It's one of my big things. We all have to have reasonable expectations of our space programs. Weren't we supposed to get a big Falcon launch today? Wasn't SpaceX? Wasn't it today was the original day where we were going to get the big Falcon Heavy rocket again for SpaceX? That's a very important rocket. We have to make sure that we can launch that rocket over and over and over again without any problems. And today was going to be a big day. Can't do it. That was like on Monday. They're like, on Monday, we're going to do it on Friday. And then at some point, it's like, yeah, we're not doing it Friday because the wind's blowing. That's how bad we are at space. We haven't gotten much better than since this day in 1959 when we failed to build a spy satellite and put it into orbit. On this day in 1966, okay, here we go. Take the hats off. Big moment, big sad moment. You know, I'm a NASA geek. I love the space. Here we go. It's another space thing. On this day in 66, a T-38 Talon crashes into the McDonnell Aircraft Factory while attempting a poor visibility landing at Lambert Field in St. Louis, killing 2 American heroes, astronaut Elliot C. and Charlie Bassett. One of the big tragedies in NASA of the early days of the Mercury and Apollo program. Gemini, Mercury, Apollo. Those were the cool ass 60s programs. Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Gemini. I like the way the astronauts say Gemini. Moving on this day in 1983, the final episode of MASH airs with almost 110 million people tuned in to watch the finale of MASH on this day in 1983. It was huge. It was a big, big deal. How old was I on this day in 80? Okay, so I was 13. Yeah, man, everybody tuned in for the finale of MASH. I kind of, I was a big TV guy as a kid, but I was never a big MASH guy. MASH always seemed, not for me. So maybe older people might enjoy that, but I wasn't into MASH. Mork and Mindy, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, that was my speed. MASH was a little different. Which is weird because I also like shows like Trapper John and The Paper Chase on PBS. I don't know. It was weird. I just never got into MASH. 110 million people. Okay, so what is that? 110 million people. What does that mean in the pantheon of most watched American television shows of all time? And I'm not going to say global television audiences because honestly, it's all that Europe, the Euro, what is that song contest in Europe? We do it. What is it called? I don't know. Every year, every country in Europe writes a song and then they all get together. Yeah. I explain it like this. It'd be like if in the United States, if every state wrote a song, like here's the song from Nebraska, here's the song from Illinois, here's the song from Texas. It's like every state wrote a song, and then there was like a multi-week television series where each song from each state was performed, and then the whole country votes on a winner. That's like the European thing. And that has like the largest, like 5 of the top 10 most watched shows globally are that stupid thing, so we don't know what that is. On the other side, when it comes to the American television audiences, would you be surprised to learn that 19 of the top 20 largest television audiences of all time in America were Super Bowls? Because they are. They are. The top 20 most watched American television shows of all time, 19 of them are Super Bowls. You know why only 19? Because at number 12 most watched is the MASH finale on this day. About 110 is what they said, because this has got a different number. This thing I pulled up has a number of 105.9, and I think the story I just read from says 110. So whatever. All right. So what else? What else? Let's eliminate Super Bowls, right? Let's do that. Let's eliminate Super Bowls, and let's just what are the most watched television shows? All right. Here we go. Number 1 is the aforementioned MASH on this day in 1983. The final episode of MASH, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, comes in at number 1. 110 million is what they say. Although this one says 106. And a couple of paragraphs before this, it said 105. So, let's go with 106. Number 1 non-Super Bowl American most watched television audience. We tuned in for MASH, the farewell, on this day in 83. That's number 1. Number 2, Gulf War coverage from 1991. Yeah, I remember this. This was the first time that we were, CNN, by the way, this is who aired that. It was the first time we were able to watch a war breakout on live TV. Bombs over Baghdad. Have you ever seen that when the bombing started and the CNN team were inside the hotel in the middle of Baghdad as the bombs fell and they broadcast that live? It was happening. That was incredible TV. I can tell you as a 24-year-old who was young and in media at the time, that was thrilling to watch. Just the way it was covered, what those people were doing, that was amazing. Number 2, Gulf War coverage, January 16th, 1991, 85.6 million people. Number 3, the first Clinton-Trump debate, right? Hillary and Trump, 84 million, September 26, 2016. Number 4 on the list of the most watched American television shows of all time. Number 4 is Dallas, Who Done It? November 21st, 1980. That's the Who Shot JR episode. 1980, they did a 80.6 million viewers. Number 5. I'm sorry, number 5. All right, number 1 is MASH. Number 2 is Gulf War coverage. Number 3 is the first Trump-Clinton debate. Number 4 is Dallas, Who Shot JR. Number 5, the Carter-Reagan presidential debate on October 28th of 1980. 80.6 million people. That is a tie. That is a tie with Dallas, with the Dallas Who Done It, Who Shot JR. Number 6. Here's a good one. This is one we all remember. I mean, I got to be honest. I don't remember the Carter-Reagan debate. I don't even remember Who Shot JR. I was like 9, you know. But this one I do remember. Number 6, the finale of Cheers. The finale of Cheers did 80.5 million viewers. Number 7, see, these are all, I'm one of these viewers for most of these now, at least the ones that occurred during my lifetime for the most part. Here's one. This is another one. Number 7, 78.8 million people tuned in on February 23, 1994 to watch the 1994 Winter Olympics ladies singles figure skating. That's Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding numbers right there. Yeah. Do you remember that? Do you remember Tanya? She did her performance. That's what we all tuned in for. Tanya did her performance and then her lace broke. Oh, it was on live TV. It was really good. And the judge, and she couldn't continue because her lace broke. And then she took her skate and she put it up on the judge's bench. She slams her skate up there. And she's like, look, it's broke. And they disqualified her. Oh, that was great TV. Sorry, Tanya. Sorry. That comes in at number 7, most watched American television show of all time. Again, we're doing this because MASH, the farewell episode, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, aired on American television on this day. It is the most watched television series the most watched television episode in history. Where are we at now? Winter Olympics, number 8. I almost feel like we were forced to watch this. I mean, don't get me wrong. We wanted to watch it because this was our entire life. This was how we were living. And this was, but I think when I've told or talk about this, I think I often say, school made us watch it. I don't know if that's true, but I watched it. I watched it recently. I watched it like a year ago. It's still freaky. It's still freaky. This is one of the most important films in the history of my life. This is one of those films. Now, that doesn't mean one of my best or my favorites. It just means one of the most important films, a film that I saw and it changed a whole lot about me. It was on this day in 1983, November 20th, 1983, the day after, aired on NBC. The day after. Woo. Cold War babies. NBC went, hey, you want to see what happens if this whole thing shits the bed? Here's what happens. This is what the Cold War is trying to deter. The day after is a scary, scary movie. If you were a kid, if you were like a 12-year-old in number 9 most watched television series, Roots. Roots is number 9, and that's the final episode. Yeah, January 30th, 1977. And rounding out the top 10, the Seinfeld finale with 76.3 million people, May 14th, 1998. All right, there you have it. Hold on, sorry. I just got an update on something. Nope, that doesn't pertain to anything that I need to stop the show for. Okay. On this day in 83, the final episode of MASH. On this day in 1985, I don't want to do that. On this day in 1993, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms raid the Branch Davidian. The whole Branch Davidian thing started on this day, 1993. 51-day standoff. Of course, we all know how that ended. David Koresh. I was delivering pizzas. I was producing a morning radio show in Chicago in the morning. I was like getting in there at like 3:30 in the morning. Show started at 5:30, so I'd get into work at 3:30 in the morning. Show started at 5:30, and then I'd stay there till about 11. The show was over at 9. So then I'd stay there till 11, and then I would drive to Giordano's Pizza, and I would deliver pizzas for the afternoon rush until 4 o'clock, when I would go home and sleep because I had to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. That schedule gave me mono and almost killed me. My entire body was like, nope, you can't do that. I learned my lesson. I haven't worked hard since. Thank you. Thank you. My body doesn't like it. My body doesn't. I'm a gentleman and a gentleman. But I remember I was delivering pizzas, and it was on this particular day when the whole thing went down, and they started the live coverage of the Branch Davidian standoff. I was delivering pizzas, and it was slow, and I remember sitting in the bar at Giordano's Pizza in Chicago and just watching this with a Ted. Ted was a Greek man. Ted ran the restaurant. Ted was, always yelling and very big, didn't understand the world very much. Ted was great. Well, don't you just go home? I don't understand why you're still here. He was great. I loved him, but he was funny. He was a funny immigrant Greek man. He did not understand what he was seeing. And I'm trying to explain it to him. I'm like, no, boss. See, this is, I guess they're saying they're a religious cult. What they can't do, they can't pray to their God. Like, I don't want to get into this with you. All right? I don't know what's going on. It's cool TV. Let's watch. Don't you have delivery to do? Why don't you just go ham? That was my Greek boss, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. My Greek boss. Yeah, it was on this day, 93. The Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco and Firearms. They raided the compound there in Waco. The Branch Davidian standoff began. All right, that's going to do it. Those are all the things that have happened on this day. Let's talk about birthdays. Why? Because we feel like we should kick some famous people in the nuts or give them a well-earned happy birthday. Here we go. First birthday. I just said first birthday. First birthday. Born on this day in 1931. Who doesn't love Gavin MacLeod? If you don't love him as Murray Slaughter from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, you better love him as Captain Merrill Stewing from The Love Boat. Born on this day in 1931, Gavin MacLeod. Born on this day in 1942, Brian Jones, English guitar player, songwriter, and producer. Do you know who Brian Jones is? I don't know if a lot of people know who Brian Jones is, which is wild because he was a very important person. And his death, I maintain that his death completely changed the history of rock and roll. Brian Jones was the founder, the boss, and the leader of the Rolling Stones. And it was when Brian Jones died in the mid-1960s, tragically, because he was kind of a fuck-up. But when he died, it was what forced Mick and Keith to kind of step to the front. And I don't know, if Brian Jones, this is a very real question. If Brian Jones was Brian Jones, if he was still alive and he had been running the Rolling Stones with his influences and the way he wanted to do it, would they have ever become the Rolling Stones? Like, they were already big. They were big. When Brian was in charge, they were big. But they weren't the Rolling Stones. You know what I mean? It's 60 years later, and they're still playing football stadiums. Would they be that? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe with Brian Jones, they'd just be the Kinks, who are so cool. But they aren't the Rolling Stones. So, very interesting. Brian Jones, born on this day in 1942. Leader, founder, original boss of the Rolling Stones. Born on this day in 1948. American actress, singer, and author. Her name is Bernadette Peters. She was famous for a very short period of time. She was famous and she was real famous, Bernadette Peters. Bernadette Peters was an actress. She was a singer. She's one of these, like, there was a transitional period in Hollywood, and it occurred in the 1970s. This transitional period was like in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. You were an entertainer. You sang, you danced, you acted. You could do comedy. You did it all. And then the 1970s came, and there was kind of this new kind of thing. No, these are actors. And these are singers. These are rock stars. These are actors. You're a TV actor. You're a movie actor. There started to be these boxes. But before that, there weren't. People did it all. And like, that's kind of Bernadette Peters. She kind of did it all. She was kind of one of these transitionary people. And you want to hear something funny about Bernadette Peters? Whenever I think of her, you know who I picture? Charo. They're nothing alike. But they were both little blips on the screen for a period of time where they were everywhere. Bernadette Peters was funny, I think, because her movie career, she was on Broadway and a singer and all that stuff. And then her movie career, when they moved her to Hollywood to make her a star, they teamed her with Steve Martin in the very early days of Steve Martin, when Steve Martin was the hottest son of a bitch on the planet. So Bernadette Peters became very big as sort of, the Katharine Hepburn to Steve Martin's Spencer Tracy. It was Tracy and Hepburn. It was Peters and Martin. It was Martin and Peters. But here's a question I have for you concerning Bernadette Peters, who was born on, it's her birthday today. If you're like me and you were raised in the 1970s, she was ubiquitous. She was everywhere for a period of time. But was she hot? That's my question. Was Bernadette Peters hot? I didn't go through puberty yet when she was famous. I wasn't like, checking out hot. She would have to be hot, right? Okay, there she is. Let's see. Okay, pouty lips, kind of a little chubby cheek. She's got too much hair. Too much hair. Can't date a woman with hair like that. My God. Unless you got like a drain snake on hand, because your shower is going to be fucked. Look at that. That is crazy hair. All right, she's pretty though. Bernadette Peters. Let's see. Weird 80s dressing pose. I don't like that. There. Okay, what's going on? This is a little, I don't know, man. She's pretty. What is she, real small? Is she like real small and tightly compacted? Like she seems like she's probably got like a thick butt and like nice boobs but not tall. Like Bernadette Peters, did you know she was only 4'5"? No. Pretty. She's pretty. Again, the hair is a problem. Pretty, pouty, not gorgeous, not Hollywood, but apparently she had a lot of talent. So pretty, very pretty. All right, there you go. Very pretty. There you go. Happy birthday, Bernadette Peters. She was pretty. But you weren't famous when I was horny, so I never noticed. I didn't get horny till around 1983, 84 maybe. I think that's when I really started, 12, 13, 14, whatever I was at that point. Happy birthday, Bernadette Peters. Born on this day in 1948. Born on this day in 1955, the great Gilbert Gottfried. Love that dude. Born on this day in 1957, the great John Turturro. Love that dude. Born on this day in 1957, the great Cindy Wilson. Love her. A lot of people will be like, I like Kate Pearson. I'm like, no, I'm a Cindy Wilson fan. I like Cindy. Yeah, Kate had the voice. I'm talking about the B-52s. What's up, nerds? You don't know about the B-52s? What are you, lame? Of course, in the B-52s, the two girls with the beehives were Cindy Wilson and Kate Pearson. But Fred Schneider as well. But my point is this. Cindy Wilson. She was the one I liked. She's the blonde. It's her birthday. Born on this day in 1957. Born on this day in 1961. Ray Dawn Chong. Tommy Chong's daughter. She was a crazy kind of gonna be famous, is gonna have a long-standing career, like movie actress in like the mid-80s. I think, was she in like a bunch of those Beat Street Boogaloo movies and stuff? What? I know one thing she was in. I know she was in Soul Man. Soul Man. You guys remember Soul Man? I think I made a tweet this morning about Soul Man, where I said, hey, maybe Hollywood won't be too afraid to make Soul Man 2 now. Soul Man was a movie made in the 1980s where I think it was C. Thomas Howell. It ruined his career. It destroyed his career. And we didn't know any better. But it was an entire movie made where C. Thomas Howell wore blackface, where he played a white guy trying to be a black guy, trying to get into a school. Because what is it called? Affirmative action? Is that what it was? So it was a white guy posing as a black guy trying to get into school on affirmative action to get laid. And I think he was trying to bang Ray Dawn Chong, our birthday girl. Here she is. She's Tommy Chong's daughter. Hey, man. Yeah, she's Tommy Chong's daughter. Pretty. Yeah, pretty. Didn't really amount to much, though. Quest for Fire. Do you remember Quest for Fire, the caveman movie? That was the first time I saw her. I'm like, do I want to have sex with an animal? Am I turned on? Is she playing an animal? No, she's playing a caveman. Is that an animal? It's caveman. Should I be horny from that? I'm not sure. That's what Quest for Fire did to me. Quest for Fire did that to me. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. Am I supposed to be attracted to her? She is. She's cute. Yeah, she was cute. Look at her. There she is. Ray Dawn Chong. Tommy Chong's daughter. Actress from the 1990s. Born on this day in 1961. Born on this day in 1969. A good man, Pat Monahan, lead singer of Train. Pat and I are show business friends, which means that we're no longer friends because I'm no longer in show business. Born on this day in 1976. I got complicated feelings on her. I don't know if I like her or not. I don't know. I mean, I like her. I mean, don't get me wrong. Totally would. But I don't know if I like her. Like, hey, you wanna help her move? And I don't know if that. I'm talking about the actress Allie Larder. Allie Larder is born on this day in 1976. Now, here's my complication. She was in that movie from the 1990s where she came downstairs wearing nothing but like shaving cream on her boobs and her little vajiji. That was hot. That made an impression. I'm like, whoa, who's that? And they're like, that's Allie Larder. Then she was on a show called Heroes on NBC that I really liked. If you remember the old Pugs and Kelly show, I was a big fan of Heroes, and she was on Heroes, and I kind of tolerated her, and I was like, she's okay. And now she's on Landman, and she's like really good on Landman. She plays Billy Bob Thornton's wife. Billy Bob Thornton's gold-digging hoe of a wife. She's funny. She's funny in a really like way that I don't like. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, happy birthday, Allie Larder. She's, I guess, good for her. I don't know how I feel. I mean, I watch everything you do, and I find you attractive, but all your characters are like people that I don't know, don't want to be around. All right, and we'll finish this out, the birthdays. Born on this day in 1999. I don't know how much this is going to hurt some of my friends out there, but he's having a birthday, and he ain't celebrating here. Luka Doncic, born on this day in 1999. Happy birthday, kid. Let's do the dead list. These are people who died on this day. Celebrities, famous people. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? All right, deads on this day, 2009, the great Paul Harvey. I love Paul Harvey. And the rest of the story. Paul Harvey is a legend in broadcasting. He's an absolute icon. Some would argue he's on the Mount Rushmore of American radio broadcasters. Paul Harvey did his Paul Harvey commentaries from a little studio on Michigan Avenue at the WGN building for 50 years, all over the country. And now the rest of the story. One of the incredible, timeless radio bits. I mean, that's what it is. Just a bit. It's just a bit that he packaged, and he figured out the syndication thing like decades before everybody else did. He was incredible. And then one day around 1994, 1995, Paul Harvey put it out to the Chicago radio community that he was creating an archive, and then he needed some help. And that if anybody was willing to come down on a Saturday to WGN. Now, again, not anybody. I mean, he put this out to all the radio producers, all the interns, all the people who were trying. It was really cool. So I went. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Is this going to be like a day where I get to hang out with Paul Harvey? That is badass. So I remember I did it. I did it for 3 weeks. It was a 3-weekend process. Spread over the course of a couple of months. He didn't like make us do it all, but it was 3 times we had to go and do it. Paul Harvey is an incredible man. He was so nice. He was so cool. Man, he had beers. We had pizzas. I mean, he was just awesome. And he needed people who could edit. He needed people who could sit in editing bays. Because remember, this is before you could just open your computer. And so anyway, Paul Harvey, dead on this day in 2009. He's absolutely going to heaven. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite people because I was just a fan of what he was able to do in the industry, in the way he carried himself, and the reputation that he has with other people in the industry. But then also because of those 3 random Saturdays back in the mid-1990s when I got to be in the same room with him for like 8 hours at a time. And he was just everything you wanted him to be. Paul Harvey, he's going to heaven. Born on this, or dead on this day in 2016. Here's the last one, George Kennedy. Oh, that old son of a bitch. I like George Kennedy. George Kennedy was an actor. He was in a whole bunch of movies. My favorite George Kennedy role is, of course, Cool Hand Luke. If you guys know Cool Hand Luke, you know who George Kennedy was. George Kennedy was the guy who in the beginning was testing Luke. Paul Newman, of course, plays Luke. George Kennedy was the guy who ran the bunkhouse. He was the boss. He was the inmate who seemed to carry the most sway. And then they had the egg-eating contest, the famous egg-eating contest. And all of a sudden, old George Kennedy is like Luke's second. Like Luke is now the boss and George Kennedy. That's right, Luke. Whatever you want, Luke. George Kennedy's great. Also, the airplane movies. Oh, man, I just love you. Just give me a scene with George Kennedy in a blizzard driving like a snowplow. I'm going to get this plane landed. That's my George Kennedy. He's going to heaven. Spent the last 10 years of his life on late night cable TV telling us all about his bad breath. I'm George Kennedy. Do you got the bad breath? I mean, yeah, you do. You look like you probably got some pretty stank-ass breath, George Kennedy. Big fat 90-year-old Irish drinker smoker, tough guy. He's awesome. George Kennedy, he's going to heaven. I love him. All right, let's move on now to the fourth quarter. What do you say we talk about some of the big hot topics, some of the things that are happening today? I won't go through all of them because, again, there are places you can go to find the actual news. What I do is just talk about the stuff. Sports Bra says it looks like the Pope took a turn. All right, now what do you mean? Hold on. Do we have breaking Pope news? Because, hold on. Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Thank you. That's our producer for today, CC of the Sports Bras. There is, in fact, some Pope news. This is not good. Pope Watch. All right. So originally, my headline for Pope Watch was simply going to be that doctors say that his condition has changed. It's gone from critical to complicated. That was as of last night, which is interesting because complicated is not a medical designation. That is not. It's a conversational designation. Yes, we'd like to know exactly what officially, what condition is the Pope in? Well, he's not critical anymore. He's in, let's say complicated. See, that's not real. We don't know what that is. But we've been hearing that the Pope was getting better, or at least stabilizing to a degree, and that the direness of the situation was not as bad as maybe it was over the weekend where we were doing a death watch. But here we go. Pope Francis, this is the latest. Pope Francis has been placed on a breathing machine after suffering sudden respiratory episode. Pope Francis has suffered a sudden episode of respiratory difficulty and was put on a breathing machine on Friday, according to the latest medical update from the Vatican. The episode was complicated by vomiting, some of which he aspirated. The Vatican said medical staff treated the aspiration issue before putting the Pope on mechanical ventilation. The Vatican added that it's this weekend. It's going down this weekend. And by the way, like I said, I watched Conclave. I watched the Academy Award nominated Conclave. It's going to be. Some say it's going to win. Some say it's a two movie race between Honora, which I hope wins because I think that's the most interesting film of the year. It's the best all around, front to back package, and it's a good movie. It's like, that was a fucking good movie. That's the test. That's the litmus test. When you see a movie, can you confidently and with absolute self-assuredness say that's a fucking good movie? Like, can you say that? That's the question you got to ask. I say that about Honora. Honora's a good movie, man. That's a good movie. But Conclave is kind of relevant. I'm glad I watched it. It's about what happens after the Pope dies. In the moments after the Pope dies, it's like when they put out the call to all the cardinals around the world and they fly into the Vatican and they get put in a room together and they bar the door. They're sequestered. All of the world's most powerful Catholic religious leaders get put in a room together and then the knives come out. And that's what Conclave is about. It's very good. It's very good. So the real life conclave might actually be happening. All right, let's move on. Here we are in Texas. We got some measles. Let's do a measles count. Every day we're doing measles counts. Let's see. At the start of yesterday's show, I reported a 129 measles number. That was up from 94. I think it was 94 the day before. So that's a pretty significant jump. That's a 33 case jump. Yesterday's show began 129 cases of measles here in North Texas, or not North Texas, I'm sorry, in Texas. And then at 4 p.m., that number was adjusted to 140 cases. So a climb of 11 in 2 hours since they put out the earlier one. And now it is at 150. It is at 150 cases as of 9 a.m. this morning. Let's see if that number has changed. There needs to be a website that just has measles case counts. Hey, you know what's not an easy? Measles isn't an easy word to spell, or at least it isn't for me. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Let's see here. Center for Diseases Control, measles cases. Let's see here. We still got still have the one death. Ah, shit. Really? Okay, the updated number. Hey, whoa. Hold on, guys.
Just toss, wash, and wow.
I lost my eagle. We got to bring the eagle back. I can't believe we went this long today without the eagle. Or without losing the eagle. All right, so as of 9 a.m. this morning, it was 150 cases of measles here in Texas. As of 1 p.m. here in Texas, this is according to the Center for Disease Control.gov, 164 cases. We're up to 164 cases now. Now, again, let's tap the brakes. Let's not get confused by what is happening here with this measles outbreak. The vast majority of us, myself, probably all of you listening and watching, we're all good. We got when we went through public school in America, or just, participated in any sports or anything like that. If we did that through the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, 2010s, right up until about the time the pandemic actually hit, we're all covered, man. We couldn't do the shit we needed to do in our society without being vaccinated against measles and rubella and all of that stuff. So we're all good. We got it. I myself, I've had chicken pox, so I believe I can't get measles again. So we are not talking about a COVID-type pandemic that they're afraid of. That's not what we're talking about. This issue is about a whole bunch of kids who are no longer vaccinated who are going to get sick. And the one death that we have is a child. Of the 164 cases, they are keeping these cases very private. We don't know. There has been no breakdown. We don't know. You got to believe they're all children. All hundreds, because any adult would be vaccinated against measles. So these have got to be all kids. So that's the issue here. We're talking about kids, a generation of children who are suddenly not vaccinated the way all of our generations were, and that's what's happening here in Texas. That's what's happening. Will it happen in other places? Maybe. I don't know. But this isn't like it. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that we're on the verge of another pandemic. We're not. Nobody's saying that. We are talking about innocence here, though. We're talking about children who are the ones who are going to be vulnerable to this. Any child who went to school in the past couple of years and had parents who are like, we're going to opt out on because now you can opt out. We don't believe doctors anymore, as they're popping Ozempic pills and fucking snorting ivermectin. We're crazy. We are crazy people. So kids are getting sick. So that's what the measles story is. It's about kids getting sick. It's not about trying to scare you into wearing masks again. It's about kids getting sick because of misinformation and people being led down stupid paths. Even you people who didn't get the vax, and you're fine. Some of my closest friends didn't get vaxxed. James Parker didn't get vaxxed. I don't have a problem if you don't get vaxxed. Even you people that didn't get vaxxed for the pandemic and all of that, because you had principles or whatever, you people are all vaccinated against the measles. So you're not in any threat. There's no trouble. You're going to be fine. You could still, they say, you could still get it and you'll be, you might get sick for a day or two. But as I always say about the vaccination process, it's a seatbelt, okay? It's not going to stop you from having the accident. You don't get vaccinated and then you can't get the disease now. That's not how it works. Well, some that's how it works. But it's a seatbelt, all right? If the accident comes, you're going to walk away from it because you had your seatbelt on. It's not a cure-all. It's not. And it's just about kids. It's about kids with, and this is my opinion, it's about kids with a bunch of fucking stupid parents who are, I'm sure as they're laying in bed now with their child on a ventilator in some Lubbock hospital are maybe questioning some of the decisions. misinformation, bullshit, a distrust of all of our established institutions, medical science, the government in general, media. I mean, it opens up an opportunity for us to have just absolute chaos. I believe in the power of institutions, and I believe in the importance of institutions, and medical science and doctors. That's an institution that I'm going to keep riding with. Because again, when I was in college, I was doing keg stands. And these people, when I get a cough that I go see, they weren't at those parties when I was in college. They were doing other things. They were learning shit. So, I mean, I'm still going to ride with doctors. Bob, what about Fauci? What about, I don't know anything about Fauci. He's never been my doctor. I go see a doctor. If I think he's a cocksmoke, I go to a different doctor, okay? I happen to like the doctors that I go to. You do the same thing, but trust them, okay? All right, here we go. We're not going to talk about the Zelensky thing. We already kind of covered that. The Epstein list. That's kind of a nothing, right? I mean, what do I have here? I have a whole bunch of notes on the Epstein list. Okay, what did I want to say on the Epstein list? That was, first of all, okay, so there's obviously nothing there. You know, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. Most of this stuff, the flight logs and all of that stuff, that was all made public or public through freedom of information. It wasn't classified. You could get it. It was all made public. Everything there was made public in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. We already, if you wanted to see, those aren't great state secrets. Okay. And isn't it funny though that on the actual flight logs that were released, again, the ones that were made public during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, like the only recognizable name is the Trump family. That's the only name on the list that was released. I'm like John Phillips, Michael Anderson, Stu Bakersfield, Trump, Marla, Tiffany, Alan Ackelstein, Bob Gross, Trump, Marla. I mean, he was on there twice. I didn't recognize any of the other names. I'm like, Trump. So, you know, that's weird. But that's not new. Okay, we already knew that. And besides, these flight logs, they don't mean dick. Unless these flights were going to Lolita Island. Can you break it down for me like that? I don't need flight logs of, you know, billionaire parasites, people who, you know, billionaires have planes, okay, Learjets. And there's famous people and there's celebrities and there's people of influence and power who maybe do not have the money to have their own planes. So what they do is they suck up the billionaires so that they don't have to go, you know, LA to New York from, you know, LAX to JFK. So they'll go to their billionaire. Hey, can I catch a ride? You heading back to New York? Can I catch a ride? So those logs, they really don't mean anything. He was just a billionaire who had a plane, who offered famous people rides for access. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this business deal. We'll talk about your money situation while we're in the flight. So you can't really, I mean, unless you think that Jeffrey Epstein was a 365, 7 days a week, 24-hour a day sex monster, which he wasn't. He was a businessman who on the side in his moments was banging girls, little kids, not little kids. Again, be fair. I ain't sticking up for Epstein. He's a piece of shit. Teenage girls, underage teenage girls. That was his thing. So we can't look at his plane and go like, just because you were on the plane, you're a child molester and we should kick the shit out of you in the public square. Can't do that. That's stupid. These flight logs were nothing. The Black Book. It was like, oh, there's excerpts from the Black Book. The Black Book was published in full by The Gothamist, which is a New York magazine. The Gothamist 2 years ago. None of this stuff is new. So what is going on here? When the Attorney General of the United States goes on Fox News and goes, you better believe we're going to release all this stuff. We're going to show it all. And then nothing happens. And then they release something that was already out there. I mean, I didn't know it was already out there, but I'm not a fucking weirdo about this. Over the years with the Epstein shit, I have seen so many lists. Breaking new Epstein list. They're all bullshit because they're all just things on Twitter designed to get so, you know. I don't know what's real. I don't know what the hell's going on. but I was hoping to have some real, tangible, declassified, investigate. I wanted something that I hadn't seen before, wasn't aware of. We didn't get that. I want to know if Stephen Hawking did, vacation at Lolita Island. Is that true? Or am I just believing my aunt on Facebook? I shouldn't make that joke because I do have an aunt on Facebook and she's not a weirdo. So I shouldn't let people think that's not true. So yeah, I don't know. So people are upset. A lot of people are upset. What's this note here? It says people that have been reported in court filings relating to Epstein include Prince Andrew, former President Bill Clinton, President Trump, magician David Copperfield, Michael Jackson, Highbridge Capital co-founder Glenn Dubin, lawyer Alan Dershowitz, former Victoria's Secret CEO Les Wexner. What's going on with that guy? He's the CEO of Victoria's Secrets, and we think that he's, he needs Jeffrey Epstein to get access to whatever it is that I don't think so. I don't know. That's weird. Unless maybe they're a kusum twosome. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, that's the list. What else do we have here? I don't want to do that. I don't care about that. Okay. So that brings us to the second half. What happened since? Oh, and by the way, what was released wasn't even really released. It was, you know what happened. They called in like a handful of very influential shit posters who are pro MAGA. Shit posters. They brought in shit posters, and then in a very staged and performative way, they handed them these binders that said declassified. No, none of it's true. This isn't declassified information. And they did a big show for the cameras. And each and every one of those people, they all tweeted out the exact same line, which of course means that it was coordinated and they were told what to do because they're good little manipulators with access to the Oval Office. So that was all bullshit. That was all part of the carnival act that we just have to sift through. Anyway, all of that shit, the light of day, everybody slept on it. Everybody spent last night looking at the information, slept on it. And boy, oh boy, this morning, it was not good. People are angry. We got a fight now going on between the head of the FBI and the Attorney General of the United States. Both MAGA people, Pam Biondi and Kash Patel going at it. Trump Attorney General Pam Biondi blames the FBI for incomplete Epstein files. See, this is great too. I'm glad they're at least admitting, I know they would have liked for the reaction to have been, wow, this is all great. They would have loved that. But because the reaction was, wait, you promised shit, Pam. You went on Fox News and promised all kinds of shit and you didn't deliver. You gave us nothing. You fucking lied to us. So Pam Biondi, the Attorney General's reaction to that is, I didn't lie to you. It was the FBI and I'm mad. And now I'm going to do that thing they always do, an investigation. Yay! They'll get to the bottom of it in 2 weeks. 2 weeks will come and something else will be what we're obsessed with. And so that's how the game is played. A group of conservative influencers left the White House on by the way, this is Time Magazine. I should probably tell you the source that I read this from so you understand and can properly process the agenda of the person who wrote it. A group of conservative influencers left the White House on Thursday afternoon, all holding white binders emblazoned with the Department of Justice seal. Some of them held up the binders to the cameras, which showed that they were labeled the Epstein Files, Phase 1. That's right. Got more coming. If this movie's a hit, there'll be sequels. I got a picture of it for you. I'll show you. So all these idiots, all these tools of the state designed to make your fucking uncle unbearable at dinners. That's who these people are. There they are. The worst people in America. Bunch of fucking weirdos. All right. They're just shit stirrers. They're troublemakers. They're click miners. That's all. And they found a route that just guarantees them endless clicks. And so they hammer. They're not about truth. These are not journalists. These aren't people trying to break stories. They have no intention of vying for a Pulitzer. These are just fucking people who don't want to work, like me, who want to sit there and engage in social media shit talk. That's who they are. And they were the people that this administration decided to give this information to. I mean, that would be one of the most absurd things ever if it wasn't just Thursday in America. All right, it says here, the unusual scene came just hours after Attorney General Pam Biondi, who was confirmed earlier this month, vowed to release a cache of documents related to the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Bondi, do I keep calling her Biondi? I do, don't I? I keep calling her Biondi. Pam Bondi had promised that the Epstein files would include flight logs and the names of individuals involved. But she had cautioned that some information could not be disclosed due to the need to protect the more than 250 victims. It's about the victims. Oh. I think the victims are cool with you fucking throwing the CEO of General Electric under or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know what these names are. I mean, you really? That's the pill you want us to swallow? That you're not releasing the names of the child rapists? Because of the victims. Because we don't want... Those victims want those names out there, you fucking idiot. How dumb do you think we are, Pam Bondi? You fucking hack. The unusual scene came just hours after she promised to release them all. A review of the released documents found that they included heavy redactions and mostly information that had been previously reported, while the binders appeared to be marked declassified. See, more of this fucking performative theater. Oh, let me tell you, nobody does theater like the Democrats. I got a problem with that bullshit too. But if you're a normal person, you got a problem with it on this side as well, because we have a problem with our statesmen being performers. I don't give a fuck if they're Democrats or Republicans. Be a leader. All right, so this is all bullshit, declassified. Look, we brought Cat Turd in to break the story. Declassified. This is absurd. This is silly. This isn't serious. These are not serious people. I'm not serious. I need people in Washington who are serious fucking people and not just an endless fucking shell game from these master manipulators. And again, this isn't me saying, oh, the other side's better. The other side sucks too. We know that, but let's be consistent. So Pam Biondi says, here's what a review of the released documents found that they all included heavy redactions and mostly information that had been previously reported. The limited scope of the release drew criticism from many Republicans. Let's see, this is the inside MAGA. They're freaking out about this. And Pam Bondi doesn't want to be on the wrong side of a MAGA shit. What are they? I was going to say, what? Shitstorm. So she's now kicking it down to Kash Patel, who you work for me, Kash. Yeah, I don't know if you know the pecking order, but the Attorney General of the United States is the director of the FBI's boss. They're higher in the Justice Department pecking order. So she's putting it on him. Here's what she says. She says, questions remained as to whether they had ever been classified in the first place. The limited scope of the release drew criticism from some Republicans, including Rep. Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, who leads the House GOP Task Force on Government Transparency. She said, I nor the task force were given or reviewed the Epstein documents being released today. A New York Post story just revealed that the documents will simply be Epstein's phone book, Luna tweeted. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Get us the information we asked for. This and weed. This Epstein shit and legalized weed. They are the two most bipartisan winner issues in the country today. Get behind releasing all the Epstein stuff and legalizing weed. And I think you can win an election. So people are pissed. People inside our own party, they're pissed. In a Thursday letter, to FBI Director Kash Patel. Okay, so this is, remember, so they release it. It's garbage. They released it to a bunch of monkeys, a bunch of Twitter monkeys. It's not information, right? It's nothing. She promised on Fox it would be something. It turns out to be nothing. So now the whole world is coming for her and demanding that the attorney general, who's only been there for like a week, now must resign. And that's absurd, but here we are. So how is she responding? She's going to kick the shit out of her new FBI director for a little bit. That's what she's doing. So she fired off a letter. Let's see. In a Thursday letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, Bondi suggested that the FBI had more documents related to Epstein's investigation in the indictment. She ordered the, quote, full and complete Epstein files to be delivered to her office by Friday morning, and also ordered Kash Patel to conduct an immediate investigation as to why my previous orders on delivering all the files wasn't followed. That's how she's protecting it. Now she's very publicly, she's going to make her email, her private email to her subordinate, the director of the FBI. These emails shouldn't be public. We shouldn't know about this. That's what I mean about all of this performative bullshit. Everything is a manipulation to try and win the court of public opinion instead of actually just fucking leading our country. Ugh. I mean, you do understand, first of all, I guess that would be a fine thing. Like, just let the court of public opinion guide the governance of this great nation. That would be a great thing. If we didn't all know that 7 out of 10 of us are fucking useless. 7 out of 10 of us Americans are fucking stupid. We're emotional. There's about 3 out of every 10 of us who you'd feel comfortable leaving your kid with, right? That's really it. There's like... Look around. You think I'm crazy? Look around. Look wherever you are. Look around at the people around you right now and go, that's a fucking idiot. That's a fucking idiot. That's a fucking idiot. He's all right. That's a fucking idiot. The world is filled with idiots. So the court of public opinion doesn't mean dick, except when it comes to winning elections. And that's really all they care about. Maintaining power. Not leading. Not making sure that we can... I'm done. I'm done with that shit. Fuck you, Epstein people. I want the full list. I want to see everything. What else do we get? Let's see. What else is happening here? Oh, here's one. Here's a funny one. This is just another. This is MAGA red meat. This is just, let's just throw it up. Chewing it up. Somewhere in this country tonight at some bar, some redneck's going to be like, hey, let's add toast because English is now the official language, clank. Yeah, they're going to make English the official language of America. I mean, it never had been. You know that. Like most of us speak English. Most people in America speak English. That's how we speak. But there's a lot of people that don't speak English. And here's what's behind this. I mean, it does, like I said, it makes a lot of like, I don't know why this would make anybody happy. Like, this is just it shouldn't make you happy when you hear that English is now the official language. It should just be something you read and go, not a big deal. But here's why it is a big deal. It is a big deal because if you make English the official language of the United States, then you can't use tax dollars to fund things like help for non-English speaking citizens and, all of that stuff. So it's just another way to kind of fuck people who, I don't want you here. You're not bad foreigners, bad foreigners, not good foreigners. What are we talking about with good foreigners? Hold on. I lost myself. Where did I go? Wait a second. Hold on. Yeah, that's it. All right, there we are. Yeah, bad foreigners. We don't want bad foreigners. We only want good foreigners like Andrew Tate and his simp brother Tristan. Andrew Tate. I hate doing this. I hate talking about this guy. I despise the whole topic of Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is if you don't know who he is, good for you. That's great. I have a 15-year-old son, so I have to be hyper aware of all of this bullshit. Luckily, my 15-year-old son is good with it. Like we've had because my son has said to me, "Hey, did you hear what Andrew Tate said?" And I'm like, how dare you talk about Andrew Tate to me, you fucking stupid. What are you doing? But his whole thing is, no. You usually said that it's hysterical. So like my son's take on Andrew Tate is that he's fucking hysterical, a complete idiot, and somebody that is there to be mocked. So I'm okay with that. But Andrew Tate is a guy. He's a smart man. Yeah, I say he's a complete idiot, but that's just me being reductive to his whole thing. He's not. He's actually a smart man. He's a broken man. He's a terrible man. He's a terrible person. I imagine he was raised by a father that beat the fuck out of him and sort of instilled these ideas of what being a man is that are so completely corrupted from what civilized society would consider to be anything near the mainstream. I don't know. So you can always tell when somebody was raised by a piece of shit, and you can look at Tristan and what's his name? Fucking whatever Tate, bald guy, male pattern baldness. It's like me. I get it. But I don't consider myself the perfect alpha male. Hey, Tate, the perfect alpha male can grow a full head of hair. That would be my thought. What's going on with you? You defective genetic freak. So he was accused in Romania of all kinds of things. He's human trafficking, rape, false imprisonment. He's got a couple of rape charges. They're looking for him in England. He's wanted in England. He's a bad guy. He's just a piece of shit dude who is taking advantage of his abilities online to rally 14-year-old boys who can't get laid. And, it's the whole we hate women kind of movement and be a real man by smacking your woman around. And so he was arrested in Romania for the human trafficking stuff. And I don't know, I guess he was released or something. And then like last month, Trump's new advisor to Romania or whatever goes over there and speaks to the president. And somehow the Tate brothers situation comes up. Now, they're not saying, the administration isn't saying that they invited him here or told the Romanians to lift the travel ban that keeps the Tates in Romania. But I don't know, just yesterday out of nowhere, we got these two miscreants flying to South Florida so that they could give speeches at the Florida Young Republicans Convention. That's what they're doing. They're making speeches for a bunch of young Republicans who think the Tate brothers are cool. Oh, we need a gas leak in that building. We sure as shit do. That's absurd. It's so absurd that a guy who I think isn't trustworthy at all, I'm actually on the same side as, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has said publicly, he's come out. He's like, we don't want them here. They're not welcome in the state of Florida. These are not the guys. It was pretty cool. I was like, look at DeSantis getting it, being authentic on an issue that's really just garbage. But what can you do if they're traveling legally? I mean, you can't just like a dude you don't like if you're governor of a state and like, let's say there's a dude that dated your wife in college, but he lives in England. If that dude came to America and you were the governor of the state, you couldn't just be like, you're barred from the state. So there's nothing DeSantis can do, but publicly saying, yeah, those are shit people. And I don't think that they're the kind of people we want visiting Florida. I think that's cool. That's cool from DeSantis. The White House, Trump administration, like I said, they don't know anything about it. They're like, we don't know anything about it. Trump was asked directly about Andrew Tate, and Trump was like, I don't know who he is. But here we are. So whatever. I mean, I have a bit more comfort with the idea of an Andrew Tate in that entire movement. I have a bit more comfort with it now than maybe I did a year ago when I wasn't sure. I got a kid, I got a boy, I got a young man. And I need him. I need him to be cool. I need him to be a cool kid and not like a weirdo who hates women. Who is like, fucking women are awesome, man. I was raised by a single mom. I much prefer women to dudes. Oh, what, you don't? What are you, gay? I mean, select things I prefer dudes. Watching sports, hanging out in downtime, drinking beer, all of that. Those are things I like doing. Everything else, women. Everything else, I'd rather do it with a woman. Going out to dinner, woman. Long car ride, woman. Fist fight, woman. No, that was a joke. That was a joke. But I worry about that as the father of a 15-year-old. I'm like, dude, I need my son to be fucking cool. I don't want him to be a pussy or a simp or anything, but I'd like him to be a confident, authentic young man who appreciates that we have two genders. Oh God, what did I say? We got two genders, and then there's other things. There's other stuff going on. There you go. That's what I'm gonna say. So I want him to be, I don't want him to be like, it's a man's world and women suck. Cause I gotta tell you, you ain't never getting laid with that attitude. You just ain't. You need to be a charmer. You need to know how to talk to girls. And none of these people that are following in this Andrew Tate system, you want to know why Andrew Tate gets these women? Because he's wealthy and he's kind of good looking. And let me tell you something. Women are just as stupid as guys when it comes to, being with, bad people. Andrew Tate can get chicks. Andrew Tate can get truckloads of dumb fucking chicks. And there's a whole bunch of them. I'm a party girl. There's a whole bunch of them fucking I want to be an OnlyFans girl. There's a whole bunch of those fucking people out there. And Andrew Tate is a smooth talker who's got like 0% body fat and, a kickboxer and all that shit. He's got that. And when he talks to a girl in a club, she's like, I'll go home with you right now. And he's like, you should come to Romania with me. And she's like, okay. And then they go to Romania and he doesn't let them leave their room for 9 months. And then all of a sudden it's a big international story. What I'm saying is he's a piece of shit human being. And he probably did rape the girls that are accusing him of rape. But I've always been a little bit uncomfortable with this whole human trafficking aspect of it. These girls, when I think of human trafficking, I think when you say that what Andrew Tate was doing was human trafficking, I think you're really sort of diminishing how awful that crime is. When you find a transport crate on a dock in San Francisco with 18 dead teenage girls from China, that's fucking human trafficking. Andrew Tate convincing a bunch of really stupid party girls to move to Romania and do OnlyFans for him, that's not human trafficking. It's a piece of shit you're going to burn in hell because you're a pimp kind of thing, but it ain't human trafficking. Look at me defending Andrew Tate. All right, let's move on. So let's do this one here. A piece of body cam footage was released. This is, remember a couple of weeks ago, a January 6th, January 6er, if you will, who was released from Trump's first day. He's like, everybody can go. Everybody, you tried to burn down. Hey, all the people who burned the Reichstag, they can all get out of prison. Remember when Germany did that? No, in Germany, they actually made all those people the generals. Those were the Nazis. So a bad example, I guess. But yeah, so all the J6ers, they all got out. And then, there's been a smattering of interesting little public dust-ups where, sometimes they just don't know how to behave. Apparently J6 wasn't a one-off. Apparently you can't behave yourself because they're getting in trouble left and right. And by left and right, I mean two. I mean the two stories that I talked about. I don't know. It just seems like there's going to be more. Oh, trust me, there'll be more. But this is kind of a sad situation here concerning January 6er Matthew Huddle, who was killed by a cop in Indiana a couple of weeks ago. He was only out for like 6 days. He was in prison for the January 6th. Trump gets into office, signs it. He gets out. He's back home in Indiana, gets pulled over by an Indiana State Police officer, and he ends up dead. So we got the body cam of that. And I'm going to play it, and we're going to talk about it, and it's pretty heavy shit. So let's watch this. All right, here we go. You're not going to see a murder. Don't worry. I don't do that. I don't do that around here. It's like I don't on my Twitters and all that shit. I check out this person getting their head cut off. Like, I'm never going to do that. All right, so we're not going to see him get killed. It's going to be blurred out and all that, but this is how it went down. Okay, this is pretty wild. Again, January 6th, Matthew Huddle. This is, they're going to make us watch a commercial, aren't they? Fucking media. Oh, God.
They're called bionic boomers. Seniors
Well,
once
it's only
riddled
3
with
seconds.
debilitating
We'll just be
arthritis
able to
pain.
skip that like we are right now. Okay, here we go.
Are at a felony status for driving while suspended. So today you are going to come with me
Well, I can't.
You're going to have to, okay? You're going to come with me today, all right?
No, I can't go to jail for this, sir.
You're going to have to come.
Can I get a ride?
No.
Are you
There's no-
sure?
this is
I'll violate my...
Just listen to me, okay? Number one, it's a felony offense. There's no leeway with felonies in the state of Indiana. Now, maybe if it was a misdemeanor offense, I could work something out with you, but it's not a misdemeanor. It's a felony offense, okay?
The offense, as I understand it, driving with a revoked license. Like, he doesn't have a license to be driving for something that happened, and now he's back. He's only been out of prison for like 5-6 days, and he's driving and he gets pulled over, and he is not allowed to be driving. And so driving when you're not allowed to drive in Indiana, I guess, is a felony, and that's what the cop is trying to explain to him. No, I'm sorry. If this were a misdemeanor, I'd be able to take you in. Or if I was a misdemeanor, I'd be able to let you, call somebody and come get it, we'll tow your car or whatever. But it's not. It's a felony. So you have to go to jail with me today. You have committed a felony.
I can't.
You're going to have to, okay? You're going to come with me today, all right?
No, I can't go to jail for this, sir.
You're going to have to come.
Can I get a ride?
No.
Are you sure?
I'll
violate my...
Just listen to me, okay? Number one, it's a felony offense. There's no leeway with felonies in the state of Indiana. Now, maybe if it was a misdemeanor offense, I could work something out with you, but it's not a misdemeanor. It's a felony offense, okay? So that's why I can't work with you today with it, okay? I understand your circumstances, but you understand that you can't drive, okay? So your driving has resulted into this situation, okay? Now, what I'm going to do...
Okay, so this is kind of interesting, Peter. Thank you, Peter. As a comment, Peter says that the way I described it, driving on the revoked license or whatever in the state of Indiana is a felony. Peter in the chat room says that shouldn't be a felonious offense. Well, don't you need more information, Peter? I mean, don't we need more information as to why his license was revoked? I mean, if he is a 10-time drunk driver or somebody who was killed, I mean, I can see why it would be a felony. If he drove through a parade and injured a bunch of people, I can see why the state might be real serious about you not being able to drive anymore, depending on what I don't know what the occurrence. Like, if it's you didn't pay his traffic tickets, then I agree with you. Then that's some nonsense there, Peter. But honestly, it does depend. It really does. I think it depends on why. And we don't know, or I don't know, I should say. All right, let's go back to it. Body cam footage, J6er Matthew Huddle being shot to death by Indiana State Police 5 days after being released.
All right. I'm going to put your information right here for a sec. I want you to turn around and put your hands like, don't you do it, buddy. No.
I'm shooting myself.
No.
That kills me. The dog in the back seat kills me.
No.
All right, now from this perspective. I don't know why are they. Oh, okay, never mind. I was thinking, why are they blurring out the cop? We just saw his body cam, but seeing from his perspective on his body cam doesn't show us who he is, and maybe they're just trying to protect the cop because there's a bunch of crazy people out there who'll be like, you can't kill one of us J6ers. I mean, I understand why he might want to be obscured like this. All right, there's no sound here. So we're just going to watch the movements. He's explaining to him, this is a felony. I have to, or he's going through some stuff emotionally right now. Inside, I mean, he's holding it together on the outside until he's not. But he is going through a fucking hurricane inside him right now. He is, hold on, here we go. I mean, just all the, I can't go back to jail. This is gonna end my, well, he was pardoned unless he's on parole for something else. I mean, he might just be trash, a guy who's like, always got something hanging over his head. Here we go. When's he gonna make the break? Come on. Yep, here it is. Oh, there he goes. Dives in, grabs a car or a gun under the seat, pulls the gun, cop backs up. Begins to fire, put it down, bang, bang, bang. He's dead. All right, there you have it. That is Matthew Huddle, the J6er, how he died. By the way, he said when he ran into his car, I don't know if you heard it, he said, I'm going to shoot myself. I'm going to shoot myself. So believing his intention, what he's saying is, I'm just going to run into the car and I'm going to commit suicide because I can't go back to jail. I'll be there forever or whatever. And the cop, of course, can't take his word for it. This guy suddenly has a gun. He's acting wildly erratic, and he's going, I'm going to shoot myself with it. And the cop's like, drop the gun. And he's like, I'm going to shoot myself with it. The cop has to fire in that situation. That is a justified shooting. That dude had a gun. He was acting like a crazy person. That cop needs to go home to his family. They murdered him. I wonder if there's any of that. Is there any of that out there? Even in the craziest of the 15%ers on the right, are there people who think that J6er didn't deserve to die? Because that J6er died because of his own actions. Because he's a fucking dummy. He's obviously a dumb person. He's made a lot of dumb, stupid, poor choices. And now here he is. And they're all coming together. And he makes the ultimate stupid choice because he's a dumb person. Don't defend him. That cop is a cop. I don't know if the cop's a dick or a cool guy. I've known both in cops. That cop did nothing wrong. That cop needs to go home. That dude was a fucking nutball. And there we have it. Here's some interesting. Did you see this? This is going around earlier today before the whole Oval Office blow up that sort of took over the conversation today. The big story was this. Americans are fed up. Do you know about this? 2 in 5 Americans say living in the USA is no longer enjoyable. 2/3 call society toxic. 2/3 of American citizens call American society toxic. And 17% of Americans want to leave. All right, let's go through these. Fed up. 2 in 5 Americans say living in the U.S. is no longer enjoyable. 2 in 5? Are you fucking kidding me? Who are these 3 people who are okay with the way we've been with each other these last couple of years? 2 in 5 is low. I know that they're trying to present this like it's crazy high, but that is low. We are at the very least a nation split about 50-50. Hating on the other side. I think that's low. 2/3 call society toxic. Again, I guess we've got 1/3 of society who are retarded. Society is obviously toxic. Society, oh, come on. This is not a story. These are saying the quiet parts out loud and then publishing them so that people must confront them and go, yes. 17% want to leave America. Well, then get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. You want to leave? That's great. I get it. You know what? I don't have a problem with leaving. I would love to go. Are you kidding me? If money wasn't an option, and this is why we have to never trust billionaires, because money ain't an option for them. They can literally live everywhere or anywhere they want, and they do. No, I'm an American. Really? Because you spent 48 weeks at your Swiss Alps mansion last year. We the people are the only real Americans. We live here. We don't have a choice. We can't just pick up and get an apartment in Paris. 17% want to leave this country. Hey, if you can, go, do, travel the world, man. That's one of the great. That's how I feel. I would love to live in London. I would love to live in Dublin. Okay, that's it. Those are the only other places. Okay, that's it. Because I'm limited by English. I don't want to live somewhere where I'm somebody who doesn't speak the language. I don't want to. So that's it. But I would go live there, but I would never renounce my citizenship. I would never not be an American. So look, we got 17% who want to leave. That's fine. You obviously don't want to work and try and fight and make this place better, or at least incrementally better. When I think about that stuff, I think that's the big problem, is that we all think that we can fix it and then tomorrow it'll be better. No, it's not how it works. if shit is going to get better, it's going to be incrementally better, and it's going to happen over the course of like 10 to 15 years. And at some point, we're going to look back. It's going to be the year 2040, and we're going to say, remember how fucked up it was in 2025? That's how it works. And you got to stay to do that. You can't leave. So go ahead. 70% of you want to get out? Get out. Go ahead. Enjoy. God bless. Let's end the show today. Let's end the show today with the Oscar swag bag, because I promised it. It's the Oscars. The Oscars are on Sunday. I probably won't even watch them. I used to love them when I was a kid. I was super into hold on, what is this? Where's the list? Hold on, I gotta find the actual swag bag list. There we go. Okay. When I was little, I used to like the Oscars because going to the movies was a big deal when you were little. And I liked them because of the movie stars that were there. But when you're little and you're like in the Oscars in the 70s and in the 80s, like no movie you like ever wins. I'll give you a good example of that. I hated the movie Annie Hall for a long time, years. And then finally I saw Annie Hall. And now Annie Hall is a top 3 film of all time. It's Strangelove, Goodfellas, Annie Hall. It's up there. It's right in there. I hated Annie Hall because in 77 or 78 at the Oscars, it was the first time I can ever remember a movie that I loved being nominated, and it was Star Wars. Star Wars was up for Best Picture, and it lost to Annie Hall. I'm like 7 years old. It's 11 o'clock. I got school in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I stayed up all night. I'm watching. It's long past my bedtime. Star Wars didn't win? How dare ye? So I'm a long way from that guy. And I don't know that I've watched an Oscar broadcast beginning to end in 5-10 years. I mean, I think the way I've been doing it recently is recording it and then fast forwarding through everything. Like, nope, don't care about this, don't care about that. And then just watching key things, key categories. And if 2 of the presenters come out, if I like these 2, I'm like, oh, I like these people. I'll watch them do a little comedy bit or whatever it is they're doing. That's cool. I like the dead people reel. I'll see that in memoriam. Hopefully Gene Hackman. Hopefully they'll do something special for Gene Hackman. So, I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not. Honora better win for Best Picture. That's all I got. And I'd really like Mickey Madsen to win for Best Actress, but I think that ship has sailed, and I think it's going to be Demi Moore. All right, so gift bags. Oh, when you agree to be a presenter at the Academy Award, right? When you come out, nominees for Best Animated Design, like that person, what best nominee? That person gets a gift bag, an Oscar gift bag, and all the nominees get gift bags too. Like there's a sound editor who worked on an indie film for like $5,000 who might be nominated, and they just gave him a gift bag worth $250,000. And he's like, this business is amazing. So what are in these gift bags? First of all, it's not a gift bag. That's just how it's a room. There is an entire set of suites on the grounds of the Oscars where this happens, where they have tables of all of these luxury goods and brand ambassadors for these luxury goods stand at these tables. And when you come by, Mr. Movie Star, they say, hey, would you like to try on these $1,500 pair of sunglasses? And the movie star tries on those sunglasses. And then the person says, you can put that in your bag and take it because that's free of charge for you, Mr. Nominee for Best Cinematography. It's just amazing. Wait, I think there's an example of it. Now that I think about The Sopranos, right? Wasn't there a great Sopranos scene where they went to the Oscars and they had, I know there was, but is it available? Hold on, let's see. Oscar gift bag. I know that they attack. Who is it? Who do they attack? They attack some famous women. I guess that Sopranos scene isn't there. Sopranos, Oscar gift bag. That's not showing up easily. I know it's out there. Hold on. Nope. God, wow, I can't believe that. They must be pretty good about cleansing YouTube of great Sopranos scenes because, the Oscars. Okay, so not there. All right, that's okay. Anyway, the Sopranos depicted the insanity of these gift bags, and then Christopher Moltisanti pulled a heist on the gift bag room. Or actually, I think some actress, some old lady famous actress, he mugged and took her gift bag. What was her name? Who was that woman? It was somebody very famous. I can't think of her name offhand, though. All right, so here's what they're getting tonight. So here's the free shit that you get simply for being nominated or for being a presenter at the Oscars on Sunday night. So everybody you see is going to be getting one of these. They get a 4-night luxury all-villa resort stay from JOLI Maldives. So a 4-night stay at like some super crazy luxury Maldives place. They also get a 5-night luxury wellness retreat in the serene Sri Lankan hills. This is movie star stuff, man. Cotton House Hotel, 5-star Barcelona, extended week-long stay. So they got a 5-star in Barcelona. So the next time they just want to jet off to Barcelona, they can stay for 5 nights for free at a 5-star hotel. A full line of Mirage Ultra Luxury Transformative Skincare products made with 100% aborted fetuses. I don't care about the skincare products, but you know the Hollywood folks do, so that's probably good stuff. A curated selection of Parisian-inspired cosmetics and hair care products from L'Oreal Paris. Fuck, nah. If I can buy it at CVS, don't put it in the gift bag. Let's see what else we got. An exclusive jewelry bar experience from OMGG. Jewelry bar experience. You know what a jewelry bar experience is? Does that mean anything to you? It's where they bring you to the case and they lay out all the jewels and they say, pick one. For men, it's almost always watches. It's almost always like the most incredible watches you've ever seen. Pick one. That's pretty awesome. An exclusive jewelry bar experience from OMGG. Art Lipo Body Contouring with Dr. Thomas Sue. So you get like a plastic surgery thing if you want it. Okay, what else do you get? A 20-piece luxury gift box of silky smooth lip products that combine hydration, color, and sun protection from Petit Pout. Again, I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm not impressed by that. A $950 coffee table book entitled A Journey of Iceland. See, folks, when I tell you that everything is a construct, okay? Nothing is real. There's no such thing as a $950 coffee table book on Iceland. Doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. They just said that's what it costs. And so now we're like, that nobody's got a $950. That's so stupid, yet funny. Like, what do you mean? How do you know? What do you mean it's a $950? Are there 950 pages and each page is $1? Is it an American dollar? How is this a $950? Because that's what we sell it for. And how many of you sold? Well, we've not sold any yet. So then it's not a $950. You're just saying it. You're just throwing a random. That's fucking stupid. Rich people are fucked up, man. They have no regard for money. We also got a True Fruit chocolate-covered freeze-dried raspberries. Well, practicality. All of these other things you're not going to be able to enjoy during hour 3 of the Oscars. But here, they're going to throw in some freeze-dried chocolate-covered strawberries so you can snack on those. That's good. That's good. Not worth much, but that's good. Biabo luxury cannabis products. Year supply of weed. That's a practical gift bag item. A year supply of weed. Cool. Okay. All right. More. We got more weed. Big on weed with the Oscar bags. Dog Walkers cannabis pre-rolls. They're joints. Just a bunch of joints. Pre-rolled cannabis joints. Here you go. It's the Oscars. It's going to be a long night. Why don't you smoke this before you go on stage? It'll be great. All right, and then something else here. It says Kate Brown Studio Sustainable Luxury Dog Wear and Toss Pillows. That sounds like garbage too. I don't know what that is. It says because having a pet without a luxury toss pillow and not. Oh. Don't be stupid. You can find the full list of everything included. Oh, I thought that's what I was looking at. I thought the full list was what I was looking at. Okay, so those are just some of the stupid things. Like I said, in years past, a couple of years ago, it was in another story I was reading about this. I don't remember when it happened, but they gave away 2 cars. Like there were 2 actual cars. One was like one of those smart car little electric things, but still. All right, let's see if we got a list. Oh, okay. So you didn't put it in a list. You just put it in a giant, like, okay, never mind. You get the idea. It's a bunch of bullshit. Here's what I'll say, though. This year's bag is said to be worth up to, or potentially worth up to $250,000. I don't know about you, but aside from, okay, so there was a 5-star Barcelona week-long stay, right? So that's like, what's a 5-star? $2,500 a night. So that's $1,000. So let's say that's, look, I don't know how you get to $250,000 until you get to the jewelry bar. Yeah, I bet you there's some $200,000 watches up for grabs, because everything else seems like, extravagant and nice, and all these things probably cost a couple thousand or hundreds of dollars. But I just don't know how they get to the reported number of $250,000 for this year's grab bag or gift bag at the Oscars. Oh, has the camera been off this whole time? Yeah, it has. I apologize. All right. Hey, just like you were listening to the radio, right? That's fun. That's fun. Jeff is right. Yeah, the only way if there's $935 inside that coffee table book about Iceland, that's basically the only way that price makes sense. But that's what rich people do, and that's everything is a construct. It's if you're a kid, you damaged that book. That's a $950 book you just damaged. Fuck you and your constructs. It's not a $900. Well, that's what I paid. Well, then you're stupid. It's not my fault. I'm sorry I spilled my Pepsi on your $950 coffee table book. If it was $950 and you're worried about, that being expensive, why do you lay it out there on your coffee table? Shouldn't it be behind glass over your mantle? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? It's not. We said it was $950, and then you went on the stream and said it was $950. So guess what? It's now a $950 coffee table book. Construct. We all matrix of bullshit that we all subscribe to. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. We're going to be back on Monday, as we always are. Monday begins the most difficult pledge drive that we have done since the last pledge drive that we did last month, which we barely made. We did make it, though, last month, so that's good. So we'll be hitting it hard. If you want to tip and get out ahead of it, I'll have a number that we need to reach on Monday. But again, who wants to be the executive producer for the very first day of Pledge Week? That's something you can do. So drop a little something in the Cash App or the Venmo if you support this kind of talk radio every day at noon from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios for 3 long years. All right. I got a lot to do today. Like, I really want to delve into the whole, I know what I saw in the West Wing today. That was crazy. One of the most interesting moments, politically speaking, globally, foreign affairs wise, that I have ever seen. And I think most people too. So I'm going to jump into that for a little bit. Then I got a meeting at 5:30, which we're all very excited about. That'll be a good one. Probably go by the Kroger. I'll probably swing by the Kroger tonight. I like to go shopping. I like to shop every day. I'm very European that way. And not because the Europeans shop every day because they eat fresh food every day. Like they buy fresh this, fresh that. They don't, like us, we love our processed stuff. But no, I go every day because it's just cheaper that way. It's just, you can buy whatever's on sale. And if every meal you consume is a sale meal, you can eat pretty good and not spend crazy money. And that's what I figured out. And there just so happens to be a Kroger near my house. So boom, that's what I do. And besides, I'm like the king of Kroger at this point. Oh, yeah. You know what? That would be a fun video, wouldn't it? Like, do you think? Yeah, it'd be fun for 30 people, but whatever. Make a video of me going to the Kroger. saying hi to Ben. Ben's the security guard. He's an old man with a beard. Ben, he's nice. You know Ben. I see him every day. I walk in. How did I get to know his name? Well, because on one of my visits, there was an old woman who was having difficulty with her car, and I loaned her jumper cables, and he came out to see if everything was all right. And this sweet old woman knew him as Ben. So now I know he's Ben. And me and Ben helped an old lady together. And now every time I pass him when I go into the Kroger, what's up? What's up, fellow good citizen? Ben's a real Texan, too. Ben looks like Santa Claus. He's a white guy. He's probably 70. This is obviously a retirement job for him. He's big, good man. I don't know that to be true. I don't know that Ben's a good man. I just know that me and Ben, we see each other almost every day because I go to Kroger almost every day. Okay, we're done. I got nothing else to say, nothing else interesting. I hope this was fun for you. Were you not entertained? Bye, everybody. Go out there and find somebody to love, huh?